be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, 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 I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, 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 yeah. This is a statement to appreciate all that is vacant. It's just for the taking. If you make up your mind, you can take it. I'm never complacent. I would work in a mansion or basement, yeah. There's no replacement for persistence, it's a patience, yeah. In this life, I wanna be soaring, to feel sun inside when it's pouring. And I'll fight till anxiety is foreign. I'm so sick of my mind's extortion. My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, 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 I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring. My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, 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 I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, 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 yeah. This is a statement to appreciate all that is vacant. It's just for the taking. If you make up your mind, you can take it. I'm never complacent. I would work in a mansion or basement, yeah. There's no replacement for persistence, it's a patience, yeah. In this life, I wanna be soaring, to feel sun inside when it's pouring. And I'll fight till anxiety is foreign. I'm so sick of my mind's extortion. My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, 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 I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless, I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, 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 I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, 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 yeah.
This is a statement to appreciate all that is vacant. It's just for the taking. If you make up your mind, you can take it. I'm never complacent. I would work in a mansion or basement, yeah. There's no replacement for persistence. It's a patience, yeah. In this life, I wanna be soaring, to feel sun inside when it's pouring. And I'll fight till anxiety is foreign. I'm so sick of my mind's extortion.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, 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 I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless, I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, 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 I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, 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 yeah.
This is a statement to appreciate all that is vacant. It's just for the taking. If you make up your mind, you can take it. I'm never complacent. I would work in a mansion or basement, yeah. There's no replacement for persistence. It's a patience, yeah. In this life, I wanna be soaring, to feel sun inside when it's pouring. And I'll fight till anxiety is foreign. I'm so sick of my mind's extortion.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah,
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah,
This is a statement to appreciate all that is vacant. It's just for the taking. If you make up your mind, you can take it. I'm never complacent. I would work in a mansion or basement. Yeah, there's no replacement for persistence. It's a patience. Yeah, in this life, I wanna be soaring to feel sun inside when it's pouring, and I'll fight till anxiety is foreign. I'm so sick of my mind's extortion.
Life's a ride, so let's make it count. Cherish every moment, that's what it's about. Tune in together, we're building our groove. Every beat, every laugh, we're ready to move. A little laughter, some love, we're soaring high. Every single episode, reaching for the sky. News on the airwaves, spreading good vibes. Friends together, watch how our spirits rise. Kick back, unwind, leave the troubles behind. This podcast is gold, the treasure you'll find. With every word, we'll light up your day. Join the conversation, let's laugh all the way. A little laughter, some love, we're soaring high. Every single episode, reaching for the sky. News on the airwaves, spreading good vibes. Friends together, watch how our spirits rise. Kick back, unwind, leave your troubles behind. This podcast is gold, a treasure you find. Life's a ride, so let's make.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the cafe. It is great to see you today. I hope you're all having a great day and had a great evening last night. It is wonderful to be back with you all. Let's see what is new. We're looking at seeing what's going on in the news. We'll be touching on the Texas flooding situation, of course, Jack LILLYSULLIVAN, and much, much more. So thank you guys for joining us today for the morning show. Again, I hope you're all having an amazing day. Great to be here with you guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to you all, wherever you are, whoever you are. I hope it's good for you because it's great to be here with you. Please share this out. And please hit that like button if you will. Please and thank you. Let everybody know what we're doing in here, guys. Let's get them all in here if we can. And please don't forget that like button. Let's see who we got so far. We only got 12 peeps in here thus far. 13 likes. That is the way to do it. It looks like Beach Babe's in the house. Michael Green, Chili Chicken. Miss JC's back in the house with us. Sherry, good morning and welcome back to you. Paco, Jewel, 27. Hey. Of course, the lovely Miss Josie West. Welcome back to you. Wonders Deep, welcome back. Great to see you. Dagburn, Johnny Gobbles, Dead Floozy Mama's in the house. Welcome back to you. Great to see you all. Thank you for joining us. And there is SRBBBBB. Good to see you, SRB. It looks like she's the only blue crew in here. So thank you for joining us today. Good morning. Oh, good Lord, have mercy, Beach Babe. I'm sorry. I lost my mom Saturday night. She had been battling dementia the last 4 years, and this past year she fought it hard. She's at peace now, and my family and I are okay. Well, I'm glad to hear you're okay. My deepest condolences and prayers to you and your family, Beach Babe. I'm so sorry, but God bless. And again, no more suffering, and she's in a better place now. That is the way to see it, in my opinion. And I'm glad you guys are doing okay. Thank you for being here with us. Always in my thoughts and prayers, everybody in this community, whether you're going through something or not. I appreciate and love all you guys so very much. So sorry. Well, we got your back, Beach Babe. We got your back. Let's see here. Come on in and grab a seat. Looks like we got 17 peeps in the house so far. Thank you guys for joining us. Wanted to thank you all. Unbeknownst to you, you've helped me get through this. Well, I hope we can, and we will continue to try. Beach Babe, that's for sure. You are so very welcome, dear. That's what I love about this community is we definitely can do that for each other, if nothing else, support each other. So very grateful to all of you for being the way you are. Come on in and grab a seat, guys. We got a little bit of everything to check out. Definitely need to absolutely. Definitely need to look into what's going on down in Texas, the updates there. Of course, Jack Millie Sullivan's updates. There's Brandy B, the OG. Thank you for joining us, Brandy. And Tomboy covering the presser on the food. What are we talking about here, Tomboy? What food? The flood. Yes, the flood. Yes, yes, Tomboy, I will. I'm like, food? What are we talking about now? Flood. Sorry, it took me a minute. Yes, you forgot your L. I will definitely be covering that. I caught it. We'll be doing that for sure. So I got some blue crewers in here now. Thank you guys for joining me. That is awesome, Paco. Captain Jenks, good to see you, brother. Thank you for joining us. We do talk a lot of food, but we've never covered a press conference on food. That would be a new one, SRB. Definitely be a new one. So yeah, we definitely gotta. I'm gonna pull up the new presser on the flood situation and show you some more situational stuff going on there. They're saying that there's over 80 people deceased in this, guys. This is horrible. Absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. Yeah, I know. I heard that too, Tomboy. That is definitely not. No. Not okay with me. Are we talking about the there's a new one today, isn't there? Yeah. Hold on a minute here. Okay, guys. I really can't believe they let Ted Cruz come in here and talk. It is what it is. What are you going to do? I'll kick this back for those of you that were not watching. It's okay, SRB. I'll get you as caught up as we can. Let's get this started so we don't miss too much of that. There we go.
Y'all ready? Okay, this will be our July 7th, 10 a.m. Briefing. Search and rescue operations are ongoing throughout Cook County. We're using assets from local, state, and national first responders. Hundreds of trained first responders are working every aspect of this emergency. As of 8:30 this morning, we recovered 75 deceased bodies here in Cook County, including 48 adults and 27 children. Of this 48 adults and 27 children, 15 adults and 9 children are pending identification. At present, there are 10 campers from Camp Mystic unaccounted for and 1 counselor. We continue to offer our condolences to those affected. Reuniting the families remain our top priority here on this operation. Please note that Highway 39 of an Old Ingram Loop remains closed to the public. Other than those who live in that area would not be allowed out there. I will now turn it over to Senator Cruz. City Manager Dalton Rice.
Good morning, Dalton Rice, the city manager for the city of Kerrville. As everybody knows, we are working in conjunction with the city under a unified command response and again, a lot of devastation. Our hearts go out to the families and the victims. We want to continue to work together as a community. We love the media support on this to be able to communicate that message, communicate family, communicate togetherness, and we really appreciate all the support and helping us be able to do that. Search and rescue, as the sheriff said, search and rescue operations will continue today from Hunt, North Kerr County, all the way to Canyon Lake and Comal County.
Carolyn,
now,
welcome.
We're only focused on the Kerr County side, but we wanted to talk about that because for a linear from Hunt all the way to Comal County in a straight line distance is over 100 kilometers. This is a massive field that is happening. And again, this is unprecedented flood events. So we are still currently in the primary search phase, which is the rapid one. They are running it, we have different segments that are gridded out. Each one of those segments are taking anywhere between an hour to 3 hours, up to 2 kilometers for each segment. So what that means is they're running into a lot of technical challenges with terrain, with water, even potentially, with weather, in the rising fields. We've talked about this before. Volunteers stay out of the way because if we start getting weather reports and all the other complications that are out there, we then have to pull off of those search and rescue missions to be able to communicate to those volunteers to get off, to make sure that they don't become victims themselves. Those operations involve 19 different local and state agencies. In addition to conducting primary and secondary searches, they will be conducting welfare checks on areas in North Kerr County impacted by power outages. And when we say search and rescue operations, that is boat, walking, on the ground, dogs, drones. Again, keep personal drones out of the air. Helicopters. We do have other assets that are continuing to search as well. As of present, KPUB, which is the Kerrville Public Utility Board, is reporting continued power outages between Hunt and Ingram along the South Fork of the Guadalupe River and Hunt. In the South Fork area, there are approximately 40 down power lines and significant infrastructure damage. KPUB has brought in additional utility personnel to help with restoration, but it's not possible at this time when the power is going to be restored. There are some substations along with those power lines that we are still trying to get access to just from debris buildup or them being completely wiped out. So we do not have an estimated time on when those are going to
Welcome, Skip.
We continue to have substantial number of requests for volunteers, as I said before, and donation opportunities. We are asking those who want to volunteer to contact the Salvation Army in Kerrville by phone at 830-465-4797 or in person at 855 Hayes Street in Kerrville. Monetary donations can be made on the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country's website at www.communityfoundation.net. They have a Kerr County Relief Fund set up on that site. And I will now turn it over to the Mayor, Joe Herring.
Thank you for being here. I need to tell my community and those families who are waiting, this will be a rough week. Primary search continues, and we remain hopeful every foot, every mile, every bend of the river. Our work continues. You need to know that we have been blessed with help from the community, from the state, and the nation. We have trained experts who are helping in this effort. If you want to volunteer, it is important that you contact Kerrville Salvation Army and register. Dalton gave that number, but I'm going to give it again.
Thank you, SRB.
830-465-4797. We need focused and coordinated volunteers, not random people just showing up and doing what they do. We need to work together. As Dalton said, donations have been flowing in from around the world to the Community Foundation. Again, that website is communityfoundation.net. Please follow the City of Kerrville's Facebook page for updates. They're accurate. We take a lot of time to make sure we send out information that will be helpful, not only to residents, but to those who are visiting. I've said this 100 times, and I will say it again. We need your prayers. We need your prayers. Thank you. And now, Senator Ted Cruz.
Okay, so this is the webpage here, the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country. I'm sorry. You can go here. The Community Foundation, SRB threw it up in there, as did I. It's okay, SRB. Thank you. Don't apologize, but it's in here. You just kind of go to where you need to donate to where you want to once you dial in that website there. Okay. And that'll bring you up to this, search funds, and then you can just pretty much, I think, let me see if this works. I don't know how it would be set up, but I guess it gives you the option to donate to multiple different situations. I'm not seeing the okay. Here's the direct link here. There it is. Tomboy, put that in the Discord for me, dear, please, real quick, because I can't pull it from my chat. But that'll give you the website as well. MH, welcome. It's okay. That's what it needs to be for the Kerrville flood relief. Throw that in the Discord real quick for me, dear, please, and thank you. There it is. Thank you, ma'am. Oh, man, I can't do it. I don't know what's wrong with my Discord, but I can't take links out of here. Hang on. 1 minute. I know what I got to do. So irritating. 1 minute. Here it is. Right here, guys. Thank you, Tomboy. I just wanted you guys to be able to see what this looks like. Okay. This is it right here. Kerr County Flood Relief Fund. It gives you the option to donate what you want, and then you can put your own amount in there. Leave a note if you want to, in memory of, in honor of, however you want to do it. It seems pretty simple. But there it is. That's the most important one right there, guys. And that's what it'll look like. Kerr County Flood Relief Fund, if anybody wants to do that. And if not, if you can't, you can also just spread it around, guys. You can definitely share the link throughout any of your social media platforms, other channels that you go to. Of course, you want to ask permission, but most people won't mind, I wouldn't think. But anything that you can do, if you can't, the very least, we can keep all of them on our thoughts and prayers, and that is a definite. Okay, so there it is, guys. And that link is in the chat. Tomboy just threw it in there for us, so thank you again, Tomboy. All right, back to where we were. Much as I don't want to hear him, I want you guys to see what's going on here.
Texas is breathing right now. The pain, the shock of what has transpired these last few days has broken the heart of our state. As of yesterday, the confirmed death toll was 82, and those numbers are continuing to go up. The children, the little girls who were lost at Camp Mystic. That's every parent's nightmare. Every mom and dad. Last week, we were picking up our daughter from camp here in Hunt. Our girls have gone to camp here for a decade. The Hill Country is an incredible part of Texas, part of the country. The natural beauty here is incredible. The camps that have raised generations of little girls and little boys and instilled character and love and faith are extraordinary institutions. And I'll tell you, the pain in our state, and it's every part of the state. We've got Texans from all over the state who were here celebrating the 4th of July. A week ago, this was a time of great celebration. You're dropping your little girl off at camp, your little boy off at camp. You're celebrating Independence Day. You know that your child is going to be swimming and canoes and horseback riding and doing archery and making lifetime friends. And then suddenly it turns to tragedy. For the last several days, I've spoken to multiple parents scared out of their mind. What do you know anything? Where is my daughter? There's still 10 girls and 1 counselor from Camp Mystic that are unaccounted for.
Now, we had 27 children, I believe, missing from Camp Mystic initially. Even though they found quite a few of them, there's still 10 missing. That's still nobody should be missing. So prayers and thoughts, please. Yeah, this guy is a mess, SRB. Scully's in the house. Good to see you, brother. Thank you for joining us.
And the pain and agony of not knowing your child's whereabouts. It's the worst thing imaginable.
You're good, Tomboy. I agree with you.
I want to say, in the face of all of this, it is simultaneously inspiring. Every time there's a tragedy, every time there's a natural disaster in Texas, Texans come together. Texas is a big state. We got 31 million people, and we have hurricanes, we have tornadoes, we have wildfires. Tragedies hit this state, natural disasters hit this state, and without fail, 100 out of 100 times when that happens, we see Texans coming together, helping each other, engaging in acts of heroism. There have been over 850 high water rescues since this flooding began. 850. You look at extraordinary stories of Eagle Scouts pulling campers out of harm's way. I was just hearing a story of one counselor whose head was right at the water holding up 2 mattresses with campers on those mattresses. That kind of courage, that kind of selflessness. And then there are the first responders. The local first responders, I want to thank every one of the first responders at the local level, at the city level, at the county level, at the state level, at the federal level. In the first few hours of this flood, I was on the phone with Governor Abbott. I was on the phone with Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. I was on the phone with Nim Kidd, the head of the Texas Department of Emergency Management. And then I called President Trump. I called President Trump. He was having dinner at the time. It was still early in what was transpiring. And I wanted him to know, I said, Mr. President, everything we're hearing right now, this appears to be bad, really bad. There may be a very significant loss of life unfolding right now in Texas. And I will tell you, the president said, Ted, anything Texas needs, the answer is yes. Whatever assets you need, whatever resources you need, yes, let us know, and we will provide everything. Within hours, we had helicopters, over a dozen helicopters in the air. National Guard, DPS, game wardens, Coast Guard, doing search and rescue, reaching down. We've all seen the videos of little
Morning,
girls
Jennifer. Thank you for joining us here.
out of harm's way. Incredible courage and heroism. Search and rescue is the first stage, but the process of coming together and rebuilding is going to take longer. And I will say to all the grieving families, to all of those who've gotten the worst news imaginable, that your little girl, she's gone. I will say for many of us, those are friends and neighbors who've lost children. Got multiple kids who go to school with my girls. The mayor asked for prayers. And I want to say thank you to the millions of Texans, to the millions of Americans, to the millions of people all over the world right now who are praying for Texas and praying for those parents. Going through this grief, it is going to take love. It is going to take
Mark.
And family embracing and hugging and holding them while they weep. And it's going to take the church. With every disaster, one of the things we see here in Texas is the church steps up and the church helps and the church feeds and clothes and comforts. This morning, I met with a group of chaplains who've been going through the incredibly difficult process of talking to mom and dad after mom and dad who just lost the most precious person they ever knew. And those chaplains are just trying to love them and show God's love. So I want to say we will come through this. To those in the midst of grief right now, that might seem hard to fathom. But Texas will come through this. And I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to these gentlemen here who are working. They are not sleeping. They are working every day. Thank you to the families. Thank you to the Salvation Army. Thank you to everyone who is just reaching out and saying, how can I help? We will come through this, and we'll come through this together.
Exactly. Typically. Welcome.
And now we'll take questions.
Senator, you talked about how you know kids here, how you've taken your own kids to camp. Was it ever communicated to you that there was a need, that it was a priority to have a warning system so people had a chance to escape something like this?
Well, listen, I think anytime you're dealing with major rivers, there's a risk of flooding, and there's always been a risk of flooding, particularly on the Guadalupe River. I will say, in the wake of every tragedy, there are things that are predictable. One of the things that's predictable is that you see some people engaging in, I think, partisan games and trying to blame their political opponents for a natural disaster. And you see that with a hurricane, with a tornado, with a wildfire, with this flooding, where people immediately say, well, the hurricane is Donald Trump's fault. You know, look, that I think most normal Americans know that's ridiculous. And I think this is not a time partisan finger pointing and attacks. Now, after we come through search and rescue, after we come through the process of rebuilding, there will naturally be a period of retrospection where you look back and say, okay, what exactly transpired? What was the timeline? And what could have been done differently to prevent this loss of life? And that's a natural process. I think it should not happen in a bitter and partisan sense, but it should happen in a reasonable sense of saying, what lessons can we learn? And I will give an example. You know, Houston's my hometown. If you live on the Gulf Coast, we get hurricanes. That's part of living on the Gulf Coast as hurricanes hit. And I do think Texas as a whole has learned over time how to deal more effectively with hurricanes. And so you look here, we know the National Weather Service put out an emergency warning just after 1 a.m. and a second emergency warning just after 4 a.m. Now, obviously, most people at 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. are asleep. And so I think we will have a reasonable conversation about, are there any ways to have earlier detection? And some of that, the limits of a flash flood, they're very difficult because they can arise so quickly. But everyone would agree in hindsight, if we could go back and do it again, we would evacuate particularly those in the most vulnerable areas, the young children in the cabins closest to the water. We would remove them and get them to higher ground if we could go back and do it again. Obviously, everyone would. The people in RVs by the river's edge. We know in disasters like this, RVs and mobile homes are particularly susceptible, whether a flood or a hurricane or a tornado, they're particularly susceptible to that. And so my hope is in time, we will learn some lessons to implement to next time, and there will be another flood, there will be another disaster. But next time there's a flood, I hope we have in place processes to remove.
That's the updated number since the other day, Demon. It's definitely gone up, bro. Sad.
Especially the most vulnerable from harm's way. But I think that's going to be a process that will take a careful examination of what happened and how can we implement processes better in the future to prevent this same loss of life.
Senator, there were claims that the National Weather Service sent that first flash flood warning that should have alerted phones at 1:14 in the morning. But we have a federal public database maintained by PBS Warn, that says the first emergency alert wirelessly here in this area to Kerr County.
I don't think so, Tom, or SRB. I'm not 100%.
4 hours after the severe flooding come to this area. Did you know that? Have you seen that? And what's your response, knowing the state and cuts to the NWS in recent months by this administration?
So I don't know the source for what you're saying. All of the public reporting I've seen is that there were 2 alerts that went out, one just after 1 a.m., one after
What's up, Willard? Good to see you, brother.
You know, I can tell you, I talked about the partisan finger pointing. I think there have been some eager to point at the National Weather Service and say cuts there.
It did. It came through very quickly.
I think that's contradicted by the facts. And if you look at
you too, bro. Good to see you. I do miss you all the time, brother.
Hours before the flood became a true emergency level. But number 2, the National Weather Service here, New Braunfels is where they were headquartered. They had additional manpower.
Welcome, Miss Alicia. Good to see you, dear. Moonbreaker, welcome.
Night, anticipating that it was going to be a very dangerous weather situation. I also think it's worth noting that the National Weather Service Union, which has been very critical of the DOGE cuts, has publicly said that they don't believe that the reduction in staffing had any impact whatsoever on their ability to warn of this event. And so, look, I think it is reasonable over time to engage in a retrospective and say at every level what could have been done better, because all of us would want to prevent this horrific loss of life.
Welcome, Ms. Paula.
Just immediately trying to use it for either side to attack their political opponents. I think that's cynical and not the right approach, particularly at a time when we're dealing with a crisis and we're dealing with grief.
But does it make you question whether there should be cuts at the National Weather Service and FEMA? I know you've been supportive of FEMA.
Look, I am very supportive of FEMA. I'm very supportive of the National Weather Service. They both perform essential roles, and I think it is critical in every federal agency, particularly when you're dealing with public safety, that we make sure that critical roles are maintained. That's a longer and broader discussion. But as I said, everything from the public evidence indicates that that was not a contributing factor to what
Is
occurred
it
here.
possible to get Dalton just to talk about that?
Exactly, Panama Mom. Amen to that.
There were escalating forecasts throughout the day from the National Weather Service. What did the emergency managers of the county and other local officials do with that information? Starting at 1:15 and onward, where you had the dire river forecast at 6:30, were emergency managers doing anything to put any processes in place to warn people on the river?
So overall, we were preparing for the July 4th, weekend. So we had National EMR on site. We were, basically stood up kind of a incident command post, if you will, to prepare for that event. So everybody was kind of up looking at weather. We looked at the weather before. When you looked at the National Weather Service, flood map, it spanned all the way from the west side of Texas,
Gotcha.
with Kerr County kind of being in that upper northeast corner of it. And so everybody, including the National Weather Service, was looking at where's the rain going to hit. We know it's somewhere in here, but with rain, especially when you're dealing with terrain, you got to figure out. Sometimes you don't know until it falls. So once it starts falling, then you got to figure out, okay, how's the watershed going to do this? How's the science going to work? And when you had that north and south fork that we had talked about before, it all converged into one. We do know that a lot of the camps were looking at this just as much as everybody was. With the rainfall percentages, even the National Weather Service had looked at, and don't quote me on the numbers, but it was anywhere between 1 to 7 inches. We got significantly over that. And again, when it goes into very congregated areas and how that watershed shifts into the rivers, that impacts things.
Understood,
So
Jesse. No problem,
camps,
brother. I
obviously,
appreciate you joining us
we've heard
yesterday.
stories where campers were getting up. They were up at 3:30 in the morning. They were trying to move to higher ground. That's and the other interesting part of the terrain. And we've talked to UGR.
Stick around. We'll have some conversating here a little bit later.
Of the Guadalupe. This is the beginning. This is where everything forms when it comes into the north and south fork. And so as those things develop, it develops very rapidly, very quickly. And this rose very quickly in a very short amount of time. And so those campers that were able to do that, it worked. There's been the other question. I'll just give this one out. Evacuations. Well, why don't we evacuate? Well, evacuation is a delicate balance, because if you evacuate too late, you then risk putting buses, or cars or vehicles or campers on roads into low water areas trying to get them out, which then can make it even more challenging, because these flash floods happen very quickly. That's what.
And so we saw that in 1987, but was there any discussion about that earlier, but when it was too late? Was there any discussion about that among the officials?
So repeat your question.
Was there any discussion to evacuate or activate any emergency plans before it was too late, where we very dangerous?
Well, so again, just like disasters in Texas everywhere, it's very tough to make those calls, because what we also don't want to do is cry wolf. We don't want to make sure that we activate it at the right time. It is very difficult, very challenging, especially with this. We're looking at 100 kilometers, right? That's a big straight line distance. That's not even along the river. These areas take a lot of time to get out to. So even when first responders were on the ground at 3:30 in the morning, and we had reports, we had first responders that were getting swept away, actually responding to the first areas of rainfall. That's how quick it happened. First responders who have experience, who are Swiftwater qualified, were driving to as soon as the rain started falling, were driving to these areas, and one of them got swept off the road.
One last question, everybody. One last question.
Between 1 and 4 a.m. from local law enforcement to the camp, saying, I know you can't get buses in an hour, but is there anyone telling the camp between 1 and 4 a.m. you need to get the girls to higher ground, at the very least, even if they have to walk up there in the rain, as many of them actually end up doing? Was there any communication from local law enforcement to anyone at that camp between 1 and 4 a.m.?
That I don't know off the top of my head. What I do know, though, is there's 55,000 people in Kerr County. Kerr County is a massive, massive area. From here to those camps is 45 minutes on a good day. And so, obviously one of the big challenges that we have, even when you have cell service, a lot of those areas don't even have cell service. Radio communications towers, radio towers within the hill country, it becomes very challenging. So there's a lot of areas, especially when weather comes in, where cellular towers are down or you already have bad service. So there's a lot of factors that play and a lot of variables in there on communication that, again, I think as we work through this process, everybody has a lot of questions regarding what are the next steps and what's next. And I think all of these are all great questions. And as we continue search and rescue and as we continue to move to the next step, we definitely want to dive in and look at all those things, from self-service tower to, to radio communications, or emergency alerting. Any of those things, I think we all really need to take a look, look at and review. And we're looking forward to doing that once we can get the search and rescue and stuff complete.
In regards to the total number of, before I say anything else, I just want to say thank you, all the first responders, everyone involved. We've been praying.
Thank you.
We've been praying. The media's been praying. Thank you guys for doing that. I've got 2 questions.
Thank you, SRB. And there is a link to help if anybody is able to in any capacity whatsoever. Guys, $1 could make a difference. You never know. You're able to. If not, thoughts and prayers definitely help.
One of the follow-ups maybe from Senator Cruz, a lot of speculations being made about this being somehow man involved with the weather modification.
Good morning, Cass.
Technology, working with farmland. Do you think any of that, is there going to be any investigations into that, or can you communicate anything on that?
Let me answer your first question. I'm definitely turning that second one over to him. So on the first question, with missing persons, so obviously we have the knowns, the can't miss the kids, which is the numbers coming down as the sheriff has stated. And then we have the unknowns. We don't know what we don't know. We actually have a 5 hotline line. It fluctuates between 3 and 5, but we're working on it. We get calls 24 hours, 7 days a week. We haven't hit the weeks yet, but we're still, taking in calls. We are collecting all that information. So we don't have a solid number that we're willing to talk about right now. We do know that it is a lot, because we also are getting a lot of fake calls. You're looking, this is a worldwide discussion, and we're dealing with scammers. Victims' families are being reached out to saying that they have their kids, pay me money. It's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking.
So disgusting.
We're dealing with, with mental health issues where people are calling saying they have visions. All of these things we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and we're having to vet this information, and it becomes very taxing on our people. Again, this is an extremely heartbreaking, this is, if not the worst, one of the worst, disasters in this region in a very, very long time, even beyond 1987. And but we're
best estimate, like dozens or hundreds, or just to give people an idea?
A lot. So,
Not to get into the weeds on, people are asking lots of questions, and where should we start the investigation at?
To the best of my knowledge, there is zero evidence of anything related to anything like weather modification. And look, the internet can be a strange place. People can come up with all sorts of crazy theories. What I know is a reality is that a whole lot of Texans are grieving right now. I will tell you, I was visiting with
They really asked that
parent
question.
who was talking about online being harassed online because their information was public, that they had a little girl who was missing at Mystic. And look, there are a lot of people who are messed up, and my call for everyone, there's a time to have political fights. There's a time to disagree. This is not that time. This is the time just to reach out, support each other, go volunteer at the Salvation Army, give them money, go volunteer at your church, you know what I did when this happened? Just
Exactly, Elise. Welcome,
because
Stitch.
I got to tell you, I hugged my girls with tears in my eyes, because every one of us who's a parent, there but for the grace of God go I. And nothing will fill the void in these moms and dads' hearts, but they'll make it through it. And every one of us, we have an obligation to come through and help them make it through it. And look, Texas will come through. And let me say, Kirk County, the Hill Country is incredible. It is beautiful. And these summer camps, Camp Mystic is an incredible Texas institution. For a century, it has made a profound difference helping young girls become strong women in Texas and across the country. And so for me, at least, I'm praying for these camps. I'm praying for all the campers, everyone implicated, everyone impacted. And I hope we come together and stand as one.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Hey, good morning, folks. If you were not here earlier, I put out some housekeeping notes. I want to repeat that.
So that is today's most recent presser on this, guys. Very sad still. One moment here. Get some updates here and some live stuff going on. 1 minute.
Remain missing after catastrophic flooding. At least 82 people have been killed. And with more rain in the forecast today, the threat of more flooding is going up. So is the heartbreak. ABC's Allison Cossack on the human toll.
We're learning more about the victims of the flood disaster and the survivors trying to come to terms with what they witnessed.
I had to swim through a window and hold on to the meter box outside of the house.
28-year-old Christian Fell says he stood on the electric meter box outside his home for nearly 3 hours to stay alive.
It was an absolute force of nature that I've never witnessed before.
Amanda Sue Jones, her husband, and 4 kids evacuated moments before the worst of the flooding hit.
From the time we crossed the bridge to when everything's getting swept away was, probably 10 minutes.
27-year-old Julian Ryan died heroically, saving his kids by placing them on a floating mattress. Beloved high school teacher Jeff Wilson, who taught auto body repair, also lost his life in the flood. His wife and son are missing.
He was able to build relationships with kids, maybe kids that didn't fit the traditional classroom model.
And at Camp Mystic, where more than 24 campers were swept away in the night, at least 11 are confirmed dead. Among them, Janie Hunt, the 9-year-old cousin of Kansas City Chiefs owner Clark Hunt. His wife announcing Janie's death, saying, "If your heart is broken, I assure you God is near." 18-year-old camp counselor Chloe Childress is being remembered for her work with senior citizens. The head of her high school saying, "Chloe made space for others to feel safe, valued, and brave." Those who knew Camp Mystic's owner, Dick Eastland, say he died heroically, trying to rescue campers. His grandson writing, "If he wasn't going to die of natural causes, this was the only other way, saving the girls that he so loved and cared for."
He was, a man that made everyone feel safe and seen. He was just an extremely selfless person, and he showed that until the very end.
Allison Cossack, ABC News, New York.
And stay with Eyewitness News for any new developments related to the Texas flooding, especially as search and rescue efforts continue. We'll bring you the latest on
Horrible, absolutely.
and wherever you stream Eyewitness News.
This is beyond horrible, you guys. I just don't get it. Trying to find the other links that I have here. 1 minute. It's beyond disturbing, Tina. I'm bringing as many of the updates, the newest ones that I can from an hour or so, minutes. Hey, Liberty. Good to see you, Liberty.
Now to developing news out of Texas, where the search for those missing intensifies with another round of rain on the way. Officials say at least 80 people have so far died in devastating floods.
I
For
agree.
the very latest, here's ABC's Christiane Cordero.
This morning, hundreds of first responders from some 20 different agencies are on the ground and in the air, searching for dozens of people still missing after catastrophic floods swept through Texas's hill country. This time-lapse video
Welcome,
shows
Tony.
the speed at which the Llano River rose Friday night. Floodwaters brought down trees, homes, and buildings, tearing through Camp Mystic, where 750 girls were spending the holiday weekend. Some are still reported missing. Most of the fatalities happened in Kerr County. Reagan Brown's elderly parents live there in Hunt, Texas. They escaped the rising waters and rescued their 92-year-old neighbor who was trapped in her attic.
She's never seen anything like it. So this is the highest anybody that we know has ever witnessed.
Thank you, Carl, and welcome.
Among those killed, Dr. Catherine Eads, who was camping in an RV with her husband, Jane Ragsdale, director of Heart of the Hills Camp, and 27-year-old Julian Ryan, father of 2 young sons. With more rain on the way, first responders are using boats and helicopters to reach people holding onto trees. ABC's Medea Villarreal embedded with the Coast Guard as they search through the dense forest.
We got a FLIR camera on the front of the aircraft. You can see back there, it's that little black ball turret up there. But it is a very good camera that we have, and it's also an infrared camera, so we can find heat signatures.
President Trump has signed a major disaster declaration for the area, and FEMA is now on the ground to assist. But questions remain about the future of the agency. When asked about his plans to phase out FEMA, which he previously said could happen by the end of the year, Trump said this.
Well, FEMA is something we can talk about later, but right now they're busy working, so we'll leave it at that.
Trump also said he will probably visit Texas on Friday, calling the devastation absolutely horrible. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Intensifying this morning as another round of rain is on the way. This time-lapse video shows just how quickly things escalated there.
So there's more rain coming, by the way. Welcome, Trish. Good to see you, dear. As if there's not enough going on. You know, this is horrible.
In Texas, with water rising Friday along the Llano River in Kingsland, officials say at least 80 people have died in the floods, including several children and camp counselors. ABC's Christiane Cordero has more.
This morning, hundreds of first responders from some 20 different agencies are on the ground and in the air, searching for dozens of people still missing.
Oh, this is a playback. Hang on, guys. My apologies. Sorry about that.
You couldn't see anything, it was pitch black. But hearing people scream, kids screaming, asking for help, cars were floating away with the lights on.
Absolute chaos. It's heartbreaking.
Probably trash and maybe resale shop.
Our neighbor, who's 92 years old, my parents pulled her out of the attic.
There's been some neighbors that have come that live close by, offering to help, offering food, whatever they can do. It's good to know people in Texas can help at a time like this.
Learning a lot of the victims were not from there. They were from all over the place, including California. 3 members of a family there in the San Francisco area. Neighbors say 52-year-old Mark Walker, 50-year-old Sarah, and their 14-year-old son, Johnny, missing as of this morning. Johnny's high school scheduling a prayer vigil for tomorrow.
And an 11-year-old from San Diego is speaking out after surviving those catastrophic floods in Central Texas.
We're going to play a chunk of an interview here with Kalen Kubena because he's remarkably well-spoken and composed for an 11-year-old. And he explains that he's grateful to be home safe with his family, but that he is worried about others. Take a listen.
Some counselor from the other rooms which got flooded came into our cabin and said there was a flash flood. Now, we didn't actually know those one because we were higher up, like more elevated,
But eventually we looked outside and we just saw like an ocean out there. It's just like completely destroying everything. We saw like a whole cabin just floating down, and that's when we knew like things were getting actually real out there. Like we were starting to realize that this was a real natural disaster crisis. So once we got to the business office and the sun started to like rise, or it just got more daytime, we saw like the river fully, and it was just, we instantly knew like we gotta go. This is not fun, like safe. Because the way we get into our camp, there's like 3 different ways, but mostly we go through like on top of a dam, and that dam was just completely flooded at the moment. Counselors, they were amazing during this. Like they had wise decisions as a leader. They took us to safety when they needed to. They made quick decisions. They risked their lives for us, and I think everybody should be grateful for that.
I can't believe that kid's 11. Wow. Good God. These are camps, kids' camps. Heartbreaking, completely heartbreaking. I had heard that, Carl. I'm not 100% sure if that's true or not, but I don't know. All right, that's a still cam, guys. Hang on. Sorry. CNN released this 2 hours ago.
This is the first time Camp Mystic is releasing a statement with a number of deaths. And in this statement, Camp Mystic says it is grieving the loss of 27 campers and counselors following the catastrophic flooding on the Guadalupe River. The statement goes on to say, our hearts are broken alongside our families that are enduring this unimaginable tragedy. We are praying for them constantly. We have been in communication with local and state authorities who are tirelessly deploying extensive resources to search for our missing girls. We are deeply grateful for the outpouring of support from community, first responders, and officials at every level. We ask for your continued prayers, respect, and privacy for each of our families affected. May the Lord continue to wrap his presence around all of us. I just can't stop thinking that it was just a little over a week ago that parents dropped their young children off to have the best 4 weeks of their life at Camp Mystic, a camp I attended 30 years ago. And now some of those same parents are going to the local funeral home to potentially identify their child. It's just beyond comprehension, the heartbreak here. You feel it all around.
8:36 is the time. Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. My goodness, take a look at the devastation out in Kerr County, Texas. We are following some breaking news on this Monday morning as it relates to the death toll of these Texas floods. I want you to take a look at the very latest information from Fox News. Transitioning your screen, it says breaking. Camp Mystic says it's mourning the loss of 27 campers, counselors in Texas flooding. Also working with the Associated Press this morning, as they say Camp Mystic says it's grieving the loss of 27 campers and counselors as the search continues this Monday for victims of catastrophic Texas flooding over the 4th of July holiday weekend. I do want to transition the screen back to give you this live aerial view as I share with you the latest information. The statement just given adds another layer of heartbreak to the devastating flooding that sent a wall of water through the century-old summer camp. With more rain on the way, the risk of life-threatening flooding is still high in central Texas this Monday, even as crews search urgently for the missing following a holiday weekend deluge that killed more than 80 people. Officials saying the death toll is sure to continue to rise. We're also learning from AP that residents of Kerr County, they are starting to clear mud and salvage what they can from their demolished properties as they recount harrowing escapes from rapidly rising floodwaters dating back to late Friday. We're also learning that rescuers, they continue to maneuver through challenging terrain filled with snakes as they continue their search for the missing, including those from Camp Mystic, an all-girls summer camp that sustained massive damage. Sunday afternoon, more than 2 days after the floods tore through the camp, authorities saying that some of the girls and a counselor had still not been found. But again, getting back to this updated information, this breaking news, Camp Mystic saying it's mourning the loss of now 27 campers and counselors in this Texas flooding. As we are following this latest information, I want to share with you this statement from Camp Mystic on their website. Take a good look there. They say, quote, "Our hearts are broken alongside our families that are enduring this unimaginable tragedy. We are praying for them constantly." They go on to say, quote, "We have been in communication with local and state authorities who are tirelessly deploying extensive resources to search for our missing girls. We are deeply grateful for the outpouring of support from community, first responders, and officials at every level. We ask for your continued prayers, respect, and privacy for each of our families affected." They conclude the statement by saying, quote, "May the Lord continue to wrap his presence around all of us." So following the very latest from Camp Mystic this morning, as they mourn the loss of 27 campers and counselors, we'll continue to follow the very latest information, and you can rely on Live Now from Fox to share it with you in real time.
First of all, our thoughts and prayers go out to all those families still searching for information about their loved ones and lost ones. And in this case, this is my parents' house. They're in their 80s. 11 o'clock at night, they started having the water rise and come into their house, so they were able to escape up the hill. And
yeah, we saw this this morning already. They're just kind of rolling through them all. There's a lot. Let me see. They're saying there's at least 82 deceased at this point. A lot of the live stuff has ended. Hang on here. This is just horrible. Well, I hope the White House sticks with their plea or their promise to help. Well, I truly.
In central Texas, following catastrophic flooding that struck Friday. As of this morning, the death toll has now reached 81, and that's expected to climb. Devastating images came in overnight as the National Guard deployed thermal and infrared technology. They're doing this to try to find any signs of life. In Kerr County alone, 68 have been confirmed dead, 28 of those children. Among them were young girls trying to enjoy a week at summer camp.
It was nothing short of horrific to see what those young children went through.
Officials say 10 of the girls and a camp counselor from Camp Mystic are still missing as of this morning.
Well, as search and rescue efforts continue, the White House is on the defensive this morning. Some officials have criticized funding cuts and shortfalls at the National Weather Service for underestimating the rainfall.
It comes as President Trump is expected to visit that area come Friday. NBC's Alice Barr following the latest developments from Washington this morning.
President Trump back in Washington pledging support for flood-ravaged Central Texas and planning to visit later this week.
I would have done it today, but we'd just be in their way.
While pushing back on questions about whether cuts to the federal government left key vacancies at the National Weather Service.
They did not. They did. I'll tell you, if you look at that water situation, this is a 100-year catastrophe, and it's just so horrible to watch.
That as critics called for an investigation into staffing levels at the offices responsible for issuing flood warnings.
I know there are a number of important vacant positions, and that I and others have been asking for some time how this affects our preparedness here and ability to give alerts.
The legislative director for the National Weather Service Employees Union said the offices did have enough meteorologists to respond while raising concerns about unfilled senior positions. The National Weather Service released its timeline of alerts starting early Thursday and noting a 1:14 a.m. warning that triggered cell phone alerts. The White House saying the NWS did their job, while in Texas, the long and painful job to recover amid so much loss is just beginning. Today at the White House, President Trump is hosting Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as pressure is mounting for a ceasefire in Gaza. At the same time, the White House sending letters today pressing multiple countries to reach trade deals with a deadline for those far-ranging deals originally set for Wednesday, now pushed to August 1st. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Well, we will continue to follow the developments out of Texas all day long on WCNC Plus. You can download the app on your favorite streaming device to get live updates on breaking news, weather, and more. Country. Here's what we know right now. This morning in Kerr County, there are 68 confirmed deaths. 40 are adults and 28 are children. 850 people have been evacuated from along the Guadalupe River. 10 girls from Camp Mystic remain missing, along with one counselor. All across Central Texas in Travis, Williamson, and Burnett counties, there are now 81 people confirmed dead. 41 people remain missing. We have learned that President Trump is expected to visit Central Texas this Friday. There will be a press briefing at 10 a.m. this morning in Kerrville. Leadership from both the city of Kerrville and Kerr County will update media with the latest details. We, of course, will bring you that live right here on air and online. One of the locations hit hard by the massive flooding along the Guadalupe River near the town of Hunt was Camp Mystic. Here's a look from your South Texas Ford dealer, Skyfor. But first, let's take a look at some photos of Camp Mystic, what it looked like beforehand. Beautiful. Just a beautiful private Christian camp for girls that was founded in 1926. Now these are aerials showing the aftermath of those devastating floods hitting that area. Kerrville's city manager is assuring everyone that they'll continue to look for survivors.
Our entire focus at this time is on the search and reunification efforts for those remained unaccounted for. That is where our energy, our resources, and our attention are directed. Nothing is more important than bringing comfort and clarity to those who are waiting and grieving. We know questions are being asked about the emergency.
The process of identifying some of the victims will be painstaking. The Texas Department of Public Safety.
Welcome, Ginger. Wonderful to see you.
All they can to speed up the process.
We have some unidentified individuals at the funeral home, adults and juveniles. The Texas Rangers are collecting DNA from family members and from the deceased victims, and we're flying those to the University of North Texas in Dallas. And we will have answers with rapid DNA in hours, not days, to get some closure and information back to these families.
We are getting incredible new video of rescues that were carried out by the U.S. Coast Guard. They released this footage on social media after the intense flooding in Kerr County on Friday. In it, you can see people being hoisted to safety after being stranded. Their homes, as you see there, completely surrounded by flood.
This came on very quickly, Demon. I'm not saying that there couldn't have been more done. There definitely could have been more done, but it came on so fast, and that water was coming so fast and so hard, there was no more for it to go. And when it becomes that powerful, it will destroy any kind of levee or anything that will hold it back. So that's the sad part. And it did it so fast. There is the link again. SRB keeps dropping in here. Thank you so much. Anybody that can, if you're able to, and it's understood if you can't, folks. Like I said, $1 it can help. It is what it is. If you can help, please do. If you can't, your thoughts and prayers are welcome and can help just as much too. So please and thank you on that. And thank you, SRB, again, for dropping that so very much. And that's the biggest thing. You know, we do want to understand that. Were there early warnings? And if there were, why did nobody haul ass to this camp and do something for these kids? Okay, this is the thing that bugs me the most. I know it comes quick. I know it came quick, but how early were the warning systems, and how early did people know? And if that's the case, was it well, maybe it won't be that bad situation and they waited it out and this is what happened, or what? If it is, that's not how this should be done in the future, guys. We obviously can see that now. Very scary, very sad. This came about, most of it, the impact was around 3 in the morning, they said. So there, in turn, I can see to an extent how it could have been a problem. But if they knew this rain was coming the way it was, and I think they under anticipated the rain is what happened partially. Alicia said they started warning them possibly about flooding on Thursday. So there you go. There you go. This is I hate saying that this could have been avoided, but I hope that it couldn't have been. That's all I'm saying. In a way, I feel like it could have been. Their early warning systems are important for reasons, folks, for this stuff like this. You don't take a chance. You don't take a chance just as much as me. When tornadoes come through my area, I stand outside in the porch and wave. Okay, that's my thing. I've always been out there with them. When I was a first responder, I was there with them in person, and I'm not the go to the basement and hide guy. I'll send my family there, but I'll go out on the porch and wait till I see something. That's dangerous because you don't know how fast these things can come through. Flooding is just as bad, if not more dangerous, because you have no control, folks. There's nothing to protect you, hold you back. It will take you and you're gone. There was the story we watched the other day when this first happened of the girl that was rescued from the tree that was taken 14 miles downriver and survived because she grabbed a tree and they rescued her from the tree. That's she purely had somebody looking over her from above or wherever, but that's a luck situation. Not everybody gets that. Hey, Josie, good to see you, Joe. Thank you for joining us, dear. So they definitely could have done some things to prevent, especially anything that involves children. It heats me up fast. You know that. That should have been the most. Okay, SRB, take care. The most prominent situation, the most important situation. So that is, again, how I feel about it. But again, like I said, I know it came on quickly. But like Alicia said, they knew about this Thursday, guys. They should have been on top of things, in my opinion. That's all I'm saying. I wish they would have been. This is too much loss. Way too much loss. So all we can do at this point is support them and pray and hope and send good thoughts, I guess you could say. Let's see here. Oh, well, that's interesting to know. Thank you, Alicia. Hang on. See if I can bring this over here. So this was just brought to my attention. Hold on. That's not what I want to do there. Thank you, Alicia. Hold on, guys. I want to show you something here. Like I said, I don't get all of this info like these guys do. This is why they're here. They do these amazing things. Excuse me. And keep us in the loop. And I greatly appreciate everybody that does this, because we wouldn't know a lot if that was the case, if this didn't happen. So, nope, that's not going to work that way. Let me try it this way. I don't know why it's doing this to me. It's weird. Yeah, thank you very much. Like I said, these are the things that are important to know. Okay. Truly. Let's see what we got here. Open up for me. And as always, because we know how this works, it happens every damn time. Whoa, a little too big there. So the mainstream media is deliberately lying about the events leading up to the catastrophic flooding in Texas. The National Weather Service executed timely, precise forecasting and warnings despite unprecedented rainfall overwhelming the region. Here is the timeline of National Weather Service's proactive response. And it shows the morning of the 3rd. This is the day before. That's Thursdays. National Weather Service, Austin, San Antonio, conducts forecast briefings for emergency management, flagging flash flood risks. Okay. That was the morning of the 3rd. That's the early morning the day before. So they had warnings. They could have went into effect and started removing, not removing, but you know what I'm trying to say. No apologies needed. This is what it's about, Alicia. People need to know these things for a reason. Evacuation process should have started immediately at that point. Immediately, especially in the camps where there's children. It should have been an immediate evacuation process, in my opinion. I can't pull this up, so I'm just going to read this to you. Okay. 1:18 p.m., July 3rd, National Weather Service issues flood watch for Kirk County effective through Friday morning. That's Thursday night. Evacuation process should have been started. 6:10 p.m., July 3rd, Weather Prediction Center issues first of 3 mesoscale precipitation discussions, warnings of excessive rainfall and flash flood potential. Once again, evacuation process should have been started. 6:22 p.m., July 3rd, NWC warns of considerable flooding risks north and west of San Antonio, including Kerrville. Once again, evacuation process should have been started. 11:41 p.m. on July 3rd, first flash flood warning issued for Bandera County. Evacuation process should have been started. 1:14 a.m. July 4th, flash flood warning with considerable tag issued for Bandera and Kerr counties, triggering wireless emergency alerts, WEAs, and NOAA weather radio notifications. Evacuation process should have been started. And on and on and on, you guys. The whole list is here. 5:34. This goes all the way up to, this was 12 hours beforehand and then some. No evacuations process has started. Why? Why did you take a chance when it's giving considerable flash flood emergency flaggings on this, folks? Okay. Warns of widespread, considerable, and catastrophic flooding. No evacuation process started. That was 5 a.m. 5:34 a.m. Flash flood emergency issued for the Guadalupe River, signaling a large and deadly flood wave. Where's it at? Where's it at? This could have been avoided then, okay? This absolutely could have been avoided. So we have children who lost their lives, people who have lost their lives for absolutely no reason. I'm disgusted with that. Thank you, Alicia. And that is why we show these things, you guys, so that this doesn't happen in the future. And these people can get their shit together, get their foot out of their own asses, and save some lives instead of taking them. God damn. This is disgusting. For some reason, often denial kicks in. People delay even when they're warned. That's true. That is true. It did happen fast, but they were right there. There's your warnings, folks. And this came from the National Weather Service. When they're not your children, you don't take those risks. You don't have the right to take risks with other people's children. I agree with her. They should have jumped whatever they were doing. It dropped it. Okay, we got to get these kids out of here right now. We can't take that chance. End of story. And they didn't do it. And here we are. This is sickening to me. Absolutely sickening to me. And again, thank you, Alicia, because that needs to be, there's no excuse. None. All they had to do was get him to higher land, higher ground, and let the water recede. And then they could have proceeded from there. They didn't do it. And now we've lost how many children? And camp counselors, whatever. We've lost it for no reason. Absolutely no reason. This is why my kids never went to summer camp. I would never thought of flooding, but anything can happen, and I don't trust other people. So thank you, Lisa. And that's just horrible. Beyond horrible. It's America. Wow. Okay. Moving on. Again, before we do that, though, please keep these people in Texas and these areas in your thoughts and prayers, guys. Before we do that, though, I want to take a moment of silence for them, for the deceased, and for the people that are going through what they're going through, if we will. And when I say that, I mean, please don't type anything in the chat. And just, we're going to be silent. And when we come back, if you would, please, when we come back, fill the chat up with some red, white, and blue hearts for Texas in support of what they're going through, please. So here we go. All right, everybody. Thank you for that. God bless every one of them. Prayers and thoughts to them and the families of the missing, the people that aren't missing, aren't deceased, what they're going through. Please and thank you, guys. And thank you for that, Moonlit. Welcome, by the way. If we can't do anything else, we can support that way. And we will, for sure. But, all right, y'all. Moving on. Excuse me. I do want to do a couple more updates from Jack and Lily Sullivan's point of view. See if there's anything new or interesting here. Everybody, please, please keep Texas in your thoughts and prayers, no matter what. Again, thank you all so much.
If you guys are following the case of missing siblings, Jack and Lily, you have surely heard the name Durwood by now. He has another name as well, but we'll just refer to him as Durwood. He claims to be family to Malaya and shared that he knows the children are alive and well. Obviously, we've got to take a lot of what we see online with a grain of salt, but what I am about to share with you now is so shocking that it is really making me second guess whether Durwood really does know what is going on, and that the kids are being kept somewhere.
What happened is Malaya, they had a few arguments, they had a bad stretch for a while. Right.
And Malaya was complaining to some members of the family. And she lost her temper or lost her control a little bit, and she was like seriously complaining, saying she wanted out of there and stuff like this, right? And then there was some stuff she said that really wasn't true, but I think she was exaggerating her position. Now, some members of the family took that seriously. And they decided on their own.
Thank you, Demon, and welcome,
To
24.
look into it, right? And she made a bad mistake. There was some people involved with her. They made a bad mistake thinking they were doing something good. And before they realized what happened, things blew up so quick. The Mounties moved in so quick with the dogs.
Right.
The searchers and everything started so quick that by the time they realized, oh, Jesus, what did we do? It was gone too far. They couldn't back out of it. I'm very sure at this point that Malaya dressed the kids and took them to the roadside and put them in a vehicle. I'm about 8.
Now, this guy came out a couple weeks back and went on to another channel. I think it was a Crime and Shame, and made all these statements. And everybody kind of was like, well, okay. You know, I said, well, the guy's not going to claim to be family. It can be found out if he isn't, but who knows if what he was saying was true or not. There's a lot of people that doubt it. You just don't insert yourself like this, okay? And if you do know these things, you should go to the police with this. Period. Did he? I heard he did after a period of time, after he went on a little tour across the internet and spread all this stuff out here. So I don't like when people do this. I'll just be honest with you. I don't. If it doesn't come from law enforcement, I have a tendency to doubt it. So, hey, Kaylee, good to see you, dear. So there's that. Okay, Josie, take care, dear. Thank you for joining us. So whatever they're about to say about this guy, I'm not going to be surprised. His name is Darren. I believe his real name is Darren. We went by Durwood or whatever. And then his real name came out after the fact on quite a few other channels, I guess. The first thing I did was look at him in a sense as a suspect. When you put yourself in a situation like this and you start making all these claims of things you know, without law enforcement reinforcing it, it makes me look at you as a suspect. I'm sorry to say that, but that's what happens. Anybody that does something like that, I'm going to look at. When Ian Harsh injected himself into Idaho 4, everybody automatically looked at him. He was a suspect. Because you just don't say, unless you go to police with these things first, and they can verify or vet the information, you shouldn't do this. That's just my opinion, I'm saying. So here we are now, and they're bringing up something with him in this aspect. So we don't know, but I take anything that any of these people are saying with a grain of salt, especially this guy who said, yes, thank you. Agreed. 80%
sure I know who was driving the vehicle. I know who was in the vehicle.
Okay.
And I know who transported the kids. I'm very, very, very close to being 100% on that one.
So to cut this short for you guys that aren't getting this guy popped up on this channel, and what he just said was that Malaya got the kids dressed, walked them to the road, put him in a vehicle, and he is Malaya's cousin. Okay, and I guess that's been vetted by her sister, so that's fine. But again, this is what he claims, is that Malaya got up that morning, took the kids, got them dressed, and took them to the road, put them in a car, and off they go. Well, why does law enforcement not know that? And if they don't, they should. And if they do, they probably didn't want to put out there for a reason until he did. Okay, if that's true. So that's the problem. Hey, Adrian, good to see you. And thank you for that, dear. So this is where problems end up happening in these cases sometimes, guys. That's dangerous. Okay, we don't know who has those kids, if anybody. It would be great to think that they're alive and well, and somebody does have them. That is the highest hope for this, yes. But you shouldn't do this. You should go straight to law enforcement with any information you have. Period. Okay, and that's just my opinion. So that's the little story behind this guy. So anybody that doesn't know it.
And when I finish finding out for sure, for absolute sure, then I'm gonna be able to find where those kids got delivered. But every indication through everywhere is yes, Malaya knows where they're at, and her bailing today was another large indication to me, because I think she was informed very quickly that I stated a name. I inquired about a name, and I was eavesdropped on, and I dropped the name because I wanted to be eavesdropped on.
Right.
Because the person that was eavesdropping, I was very suspicious of being involved. And before I got back home, I got the phone call that Malaya had grabbed the baby, panicked, and took off.
Getting back to his account.
And that's it right there. It's like we said with Sebastian, and this is true. She's got a point, guys. All they're going to do is scare the people if they do have them. That could be dangerous to these kids. If somebody gets freaked out because they think they know somebody's onto them, who knows what they could do? We don't know. And yes, it is sadly going. I watched something this morning on Sebastian's case. I would not bring it to you. It's so ridiculous. There's such ridiculous bullshit out there right now. It's beyond ridiculous, guys. Talking about witches and warlocks and all sorts of weird shit. And I'm like, what are you doing? This is what has happened in these cases on the internet. People put crazy stuff out like this. You can't do that, guys. If you believe in that, I respect that truly, okay? But there's a channel that came out and put out something about the Masons and witches and warlocks and black magic and all this shit. And that's what happened to Sebastian. And I was like, what? Come on. We have to. I said this about Idaho. I said this about Sebastian many a times, which is why I backed away from his case until something, realistic comes out. People believe these things and they run with them. And then these cases get over convoluted with a bunch of garbage. That is not what these victims and these kids that go missing need, guys. They need somebody that has some common sense to put their name and their face out there so somebody sees them and can help to find them. Not this other crazy shit. Please stop it. Listen, there's nothing wrong with that, Alicia. But it's ridiculous that if they're involving it in a missing persons case. Come on. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. So that's where I have to draw a line and say, okay, that's enough. I don't have any problem with mediums or things like that. I respect it. I don't go that direction, but I respect it. And I respect people's thoughts on other things. But when you involve it in a child's case that's missing, we have a problem. We have a problem. That's all I'm saying. Oh, of course. If there's nothing else that comes from it, Cap, yeah, so am I. But I will not stop talking about the corruption and the bullshit that went on in that case. As far as Brian's concerned, there's nothing else we can do. That's it. It's over. Once they sentence and nothing changes, that's all we can do as far as Brian's concerned. But I promise you that I'm not going to stop talking about the corruption and all the bullshit that went on in Moscow and in the surrounding the case, because if we do, that's just letting it happen again and again and again. So I can't stop talking about that part of it. And I have to agree with Alicia on that aspect too, Cap.
It would explain a lot of Malaya's behavior. Being missing in action and searching and pleading for her children's safe return. The most shocking thing is that Malaya was texted about this information, and she never ever denied it. Not one bit. She never said he is talking nonsense. That would be the normal reaction if Durwood was talking nonsense. It gets even deeper. Malaya's half-sister went online talking about how they found drugs in the house, and Daniel was using it. That's what led to an altercation with his family. She was asked about Durwood on the panel too, and guess what? Even she didn't say he doesn't know what he is talking about. Here's what she said.
And whoever else, this Darren guy that is related to Malaya's side, I mean, he's just spewing a bunch of stuff that's not 100%.
Yeah. None of his stuff can be verified. So good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome.
So this is Michelle's newest video on what's going on with these two, I do believe. So we're going to check this out now. Again, Michelle After Dark is who has been putting this out, guys. I've been following everything she's been putting out. And if you have not yet, she's trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. Please help her out if you can. There's the link, and I appreciate you guys.
To another video. It is Sunday morning, the 6th of July. We're sticking with the case of missing siblings, 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan today. They were reported missing on May the 2nd from their home in Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia, Canada. The case is controversial for one reason, and one reason alone, in my opinion, and that is because various family members, particularly Lily and Jack's stepdad, Daniel Martell, have been out speaking almost from day one.
Welcome, Catley.
A lot of what they say is inconsistent. And us internet sleuths, we notice everything. All of those inconsistencies, they just don't pass us by. It makes what is being said completely unbelievable. But in this video, I'm going to keep it quite brief. I just want to share some posts that Daniel has made in various YouTube chats. I very rarely catch live streams live because of the time difference. I'm 5 hours ahead of Eastern. I'm often asleep. It's often late at night for me, or the early hours of the morning when people who are covering Lily and Jack's case are live. So usually I'm on the replay crew. So going back through chats of live streams that are sometimes 4 hours long, it's pretty much impossible. So I'm glad that people screenshot these posts because they're interesting reading. So I'm going to share a bunch of posts, YouTube chat messages that Daniel has made, and I've got them from this video here. This is like a compilation of a bunch of stuff to do with the case from a channel called Shinatra Speaks. So I'll leave a link to that in the description box. We're going to have a look at what Daniel's been saying and see whether it makes sense at all. Let's go.
I can understand.
People have been verifying that this is actually Daniel and not some fake person, because click on the name when the chat's actually live. It takes you to this YouTube channel. This is Daniel's YouTube channel that he used to post on. He used to do Pokemon card opening and stuff like that. Never been into Pokemon, so I haven't watched these videos, and they're quite old, going back 5 years. Daniel tried to get a YouTube career. Okay, so here are some of these posts. There's no dates on these, so that's a downside. Can't match it up day by day. These are in response to Darewood stroke Darren, I assume, because it's following the same theory, for the want of a better word, that Darren has been saying. Darren is a member of Malia's extended family, and for those who've been following the case, you'll know that he's got an interesting theory. To him, it's not a theory. To him, it's the truth, because it comes from Janie. Janie being Daniel's mother. Darren says that Janie saw Malia early on May the 2nd on the driveway, and she almost caught Malia out. She almost caught her, sending the children away because she wanted to leave. It's an interesting idea, but it doesn't quite make sense for me, because if Malia wanted to leave, why would she not just leave with all the kids? Why wouldn't she just get someone to pick her up? Instead of just Lily and Jack leaving, she could have just got in the car with Meadow, the baby, and that would be that. She would have left before Daniel even knew anything about it. If Malia was living in, let's say, for example, a controlling relationship, let's say, as has been now stated by Malia's sister, that Daniel's been on drugs for the last 2 years, and that's why Malia left. That's why her family wanted her out of there. Well, this is not what Daniel's saying. She couldn't stay around me because she would crack. I would find out. I want Meadow, not Malia. It's not abduction, that's criminal investigation. It's missing persons case. So is Daniel saying that Malia's taking the kids and that's not criminal? There's crimes to do with wasting police time and things like that. If what Darren has said has got any truth to it, The thing is, with this theory Darren's been putting out, again, like I said, it's, to me, doesn't make sense, because why wouldn't you just leave? If someone was willing to pick Lily and Jack up, why wouldn't you just get in the same vehicle? Indeed, you could look at it as Janie trying to misdirect people from the truth. Again, this one here, yeah, she's terrified. Investigators are close. Not close to finding out what she did, close to finding Lily and Jack. I don't know. Bro, Malaya is on the run from RCMP. What don't you get, bro? This was a while ago, so these must be quite old messages. This is all from Darren. Darren saying that Malaya left her mother's, where she's supposed to be supervised with Meadow, and she ran. Presumably she's not still on the run. There's a question mark as to whether that's even true at all. But again, Daniel's endorsing what Darren's been talking about. This one is in relation to everyone being there from Malaya's family on May the 3rd. Her family thought it was a fun family reunion, no tears. Now, it's interesting that Haley, Malaya's sister, said that it was Daniel that they were all suspicious of because he was running around hither and thither all over the place. And they knew he was on drugs because he was rustling about in the bathroom. Listen, I'd be running around like a blue horse fly if there was a kid in my family that was missing. So I'd be Daniel. I wouldn't just be sitting around having a chat. So there's that. And then finally, this is in relation to drugs. No drug dogs went through the house and property. RCMP said drug tests not a concern. I asked. They didn't run drug dogs through the house, like they didn't run cadaver dogs. The only dogs they had out there were live scent trackers. Now, drug dogs wouldn't be deployed for a missing child case unless there was reason to believe that there were a concerning amount of drugs on the property, but it would be kind of like a separate investigation. So, not running drug dogs in a missing child's case, I don't think is unusual. RCMP said drug test not a concern. I asked, well, why would Daniel ask for a drug test? It's a missing child case. Why would Daniel ask for a drug test? Is it because they were accusing him of being on drugs? Is it because they found drugs? They didn't need dogs to point them out. They were obvious. I'm still concerned about Janie's cupboard. Why she didn't want cops to search her RV. What was in that cupboard? But if it's true that there were drugs on that property, Daniel's been on drugs for the last 2 years. That's a massive concern. But it's as much a problem for Malaya, who's been living there, putting her children potentially in harm's way. So it doesn't look good on Malaya, even if she wasn't taking drugs. So there's that. And we're still no further forward than when we started. These posts.
My only issue with that whole thing is why did she wait 2 years? If he was on drugs for 2 years, why did she wait 2 years to leave then? Why didn't she, take her kids and get away from a bad situation if that's true? That's my only thought on that. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's a thought that goes along there. That's all.
Things that Daniel has said on Facebook, things that Daniel has said in YouTube chats, they're interesting, but they're not leading us in any way, shape or form to finding out what happened to Lily or Jack. And sadly, that's a fact. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thank you so much to those people who subscribed yesterday. I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and a bunch of people subscribed yesterday after I said, please subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. I know that close to 50% of people who watch my channel are not subscribed. And if everybody subscribed who watches my videos and who likes my videos, I'd be closing in on 200,000 subscribers. So please subscribe if you've not done so already. And yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think is more believable? Do you think Malaya's side is more believable?
Thanks, guys, for anybody that has subscribed to help Michelle out. She puts out some good stuff. And I like her word on not everything she talks about I agree with, but this stuff I definitely do, and some other stuff. So thank you guys for trying to help her out. I appreciate that, as I've been trying to help her too, to get to that 100,000. That is a great number. So she also put something new out. Since we're talking about it, I wanted to show you on her other channel. It's kind of on the subject of Jack and Lily, but it is on the subject of something that needs spoken about. I haven't talked about them a whole lot recently, but I planned on it today because of that. Welcome, Clifton. Good to see you. Good afternoon. As we were just talking about in chat, Sebastian Rogers' case is definitely going cold, and I don't like that, guys. It's a child's case, and it should not ever go cold. Never. So she brought up something new yesterday. It's a bit of an update, but at the very least, she's bringing up his name and showing his face, and that's the best thing that any of us can do in any of these children's cases that are missing. So let's check out what she's saying.
My name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Monday morning, the 7th of July. And in this video, we're going to Tennessee. We're going to the outskirts of a little town a few miles to the north of Nashville. We're talking about now 16-year-old Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian has been missing now since February of 2024. In this video, we're going to talk about what most likely happened to him. Let's go.
So this is on her other channel, Michelle After Dark, which you can still subscribe to if you have not done it. It will help her in a lot of ways. Again, I'm appreciative that she is putting his face and his name out there and not attaching it to any of the drama, because that is what it should be about. So here we go.
For those not totally familiar with this case, Sebastian Wainwright Rogers, then 15 years old, was last seen by his mother, Katie Proudfoot, at their home on the outskirts of Hendersonville, Tennessee. It was the night of the 25th of February, 2024. And Sebastian and his mother, they'd been out, it was a Sunday, they'd been out for some fun activities. They'd been to the bowling alley and various other places with members of Sebastian's step family. His step aunt and cousin, I believe, were there for part of the day. To top the day off, Sebastian and Katie went for dinner at the Texas Roadhouse, which is in downtown Hendersonville. They then went home. We don't know exactly what time they got home, but it was probably between 6:30 and 7, around that time. Around 9 p.m., Katie told Sebastian to go to bed because it was school the next day. Sebastian did so, but around 10ish, Katie heard what she characterized as a thud from Sebastian's room, and she didn't go in because Sebastian's 15, young man. She didn't go in, but she did shout and told him to go to sleep, and he said, "Yes, ma'am." And that was the last time anyone heard from Sebastian. The following morning, around 6 a.m., Katie went into his room to get him up for school. The school that Sebastian goes to is just 0.6 miles away from his home. It's right here. Sebastian lives here on Stafford Court, and this is his school right here. But he does catch the bus to get there. Doesn't walk, gets the bus. So she went into his room to get him up for school, and he wasn't there. She thought, well, maybe he's in the kitchen, maybe he's hiding. He likes to play pranks and things like that. So she checked the house, but he was nowhere. She looked under beds. She looked everywhere. So, rising panic, she went outside, looked around the yard, not there. So she called her husband, Chris Proudfoot. Chris was working away. He'd been working away since early February. He works in Memphis. He stays in Memphis when he's working because it's a 3.5-hour journey each way. So not feasible to do that on a daily basis, obviously. But he does come home some weekends, but he hadn't been home since early February, apparently. So she called Chris, and Chris told her that he was going to call the sheriff's office, which he did. So Chris and Katie, on a 3-way call to the sheriff's office, said that Sebastian was missing. He'd just gone. So there was a rapid response. Within a few minutes, cars started to arrive at Stafford Court. And within an hour, they'd deployed their first dog, Max, a German Shepherd from Sumner County Sheriff's Office. And Max was a live scent tracker, but non-specific. So he wasn't specifically tracking Sebastian's scent. And he started off here at the construction site. Sebastian likes construction. He likes vehicles. So it's a good place to start. He might have wandered up the road to the construction site. In February of 2024, the construction site looked like this. They'd started to put the road in. They'd started to do the drainage. This is pretty important in relation to what could have happened to Sebastian, in my humble opinion. Now, we saw Max, the German Shepherd, on a surveillance camera from the back of one of these houses on Kelling Lane. And we see Max come along this hedge line here, and then he starts at a trot and he disappears, but he goes to this retention pond. And at 7:50, the dispatch audio, so the cops talking to each other over radios, you hear this.
Max picked track back up, going into the construction site over here, back towards the beach. That's the one behind you. It's awful muddy. Do you see any footprints, anything? You shouldn't have any shoes on. Negative, this is all dry, hard packed. I do have some footprints over here. Right there where you're standing? Yeah, leading right over here to the retaining pond. No shoes, just footprints. My shoes, that Max went straight into the pond. Max led me straight to the retaining pond. Over behind Willow Boulevard, he dove right into the water. Have you seen any prints around it? There was a few footprints in some of the softer dirt, headed straight this way on the track that he was running.
Now, Max dove into the pond. Very excited, just dove into the pond. But he wasn't tracking specifically Sebastian's scent. He was tracking strongest human scent that is out there, because dogs are amazing. They have a sense of smell that's thousands of times better than ours. German Shepherds, as Max is, have around 225 million scent receptors in their nose, and their brain is geared towards scent. It's their primary sense. Around 8:30, another dog that we do believe was scent specific was also seen on a camera kind of coming along this area. And that dog.
Yeah, they definitely should have searched the construction sites, shut them down, interviewed everybody there. All of that should have happened. 100% that moment. And I don't understand how or why it didn't, because I'm telling you, there's an answer there, probably. Truly an answer there.
A bloodhound goes towards the same direction. Now, in the days that followed, there were some press conferences, and on the 27th of February, they said that they were upgrading Sebastian's missing persons alert. He'd been put out there as an endangered child. They upgraded it to an Amber Alert on the 27th for a couple of reasons. Firstly, the weather, which had been warm over the last few days, it had reached 70 degrees Fahrenheit on that Sunday. And during that night, the 25th into the 26th of February, it had dropped to about 55, 57.
Good question, Dunwan.
So not warm, but comfortable.
Good morning, Molly.
Comfortable, in my opinion. Not freezing. But on the 27th, the weather turned. They were expecting rain. They were expecting temperatures to plummet. It was going to be freezing, basically, at night. Weather, very changeable. As changeable as it is where I live here in Northern England. Like, you can get all 4 seasons all in one day here. It's crazy.
Anticipation of the temperature dropping tomorrow and a chance for storms. Is that going to change the search, or is it going to have any impact on his ability to survive?
We're concerned about the weather because we don't know exactly what he's dressed in, and we could have some flurries tomorrow. And the storms, so the wet, and then you lose body temperature 30 times faster when you're wet than when you're dry in the air or in water. And so we're concerned about that and the chance that we could have flurries tomorrow and those dropping temperatures. So we're continuing to work with drones and FLIR. And we've actually utilized tactical teams, SWAT teams, the kind of ERT and night vision that our operators have, and they've been in the field for many hours at nighttime.
The other reason was Sebastian's medical condition. So Sebastian has a rare condition that they've known about since he was a baby. In the early days of the case, I did a live stream about it over on my other channel, Michelle Walks. And if you're new to this channel and you're not familiar with me, I do have a second channel called Michelle Walks. The link to it is in the description box of every video and every live stream that I do. It's a smaller channel. I cover a lot of cases over there. And I did a video about Sebastian's medical condition. It's called 6q27 chromosomal deletion syndrome. And they've known about it since he was a baby. It causes various symptoms, including learning differences and some physical
Great point, Claire.
as well. More recently, Sebastian was diagnosed with autism. So he does have medical challenges and neurodiversity. So cops were concerned that Sebastian may not be able to find his way home on his own if he got lost, but they were treating him as a kid that's just wandered away. On the 29th of February, I think it was, because it was a leap year, they said that they got some tracks from the dogs, but nothing obviously that led to Sebastian and away from the home, which would fit with what we see on surveillance video. The chief of the Sumner County EMA, like the search and rescue people in Sumner County, Ken Widener, did confuse matters somewhat, because in an interview with Nick Berris from News Channel 5 Nashville, he said that they didn't get any tracks. But I think what he means is they didn't get any tracks that led them to Sebastian. The dog can't say what they're tracking. You have to assume that their training is kicking in and that they're actually tracking what they're meant to be tracking. But if it doesn't lead them to the person that they're looking for, then they can't for sure say that that was a track. So anyhow, Chris Profoot did tell Nort Divers, and he told a bunch of YouTubers, it's on video on Nort Divers channel, that several dogs, so there was a bloodhound, a blue tick coonhound, a dog of unknown breed a few days later, different search team, tracked from the house, down the back fence, back up, across the neighbour's backyard diagonally, and then that leads you up Kelling Lane.
If you're looking at my house, it's going to be the right-hand side. The dog goes all the way down the fence. The dog comes all the way back up into the yard, and then it cuts that right over to the house and goes through the back yard. And that's the place which the dogs took off. And after that, that's where they get over to the main road and go up Kellen and head over to the other subdivision.
To where the other dogs, like Max and the bloodhound, had picked up a track around here and gone to the construction site. The problem was this construction site was not shut down.
I can agree with that.
You can see on surveillance early in the morning from one of these cameras here, there's trucks, there's diggers, they're moving earth. So I was concerned that the manholes that they put in for the drainage system, they weren't yet covered. So you could literally fall down a manhole. And this is exactly what happened to Caleb Harris. Caleb Harris, the student from Texas. He'd been missing for, I think it was about 4 months. And then workers found human remains in like the drainage system. So it happens. And, you know, Caleb was in his 20s, a young man. So it's absolutely possible, in my opinion, that something like that could have happened. And that's why you've got the scent really strong in the retention pond. They did drain this pond. They walked this pond. Trey from Nort Divers also walked this pond and videoed it. So It's really concerning that they didn't close this construction site down, and what evidence has been lost based on that fact. Now, this case has garnered a lot of attention. Nancy Grace has interviewed the parents. They've not been on Dr. Phil like Don and Candice Wells did. But yeah, they've had some national publicity, and that's great to get Sebastian's name out, but it's become a circus. So a lot of people think that Chris and Katie Proudfoot's interviews gave clues as to how deceptive they've been. I don't see it personally. I don't think Katie had anything to do with Sebastian's disappearance. I don't think Chris did. Chris was 3.5 hours away. I'm sure that the cops have looked into him and know exactly where he was. He was staying in his RV. He stays just over the border in an RV park in Mississippi. So he would have been there the Sunday night, and they know what time he got to work on the Monday morning. They know what time he got the phone call. They know what time he left. So they know Chrissy's movements. He was not there that Sunday night into Monday. Sebastian also has a biological father called Seth Rogers, and Seth did a lot in the early days to publicize Sebastian's disappearance. He was out there getting, search teams together, and a lot of people rallied to help Seth. Unfortunately, though, the case, because you've got Seth's side and you've got Katie and Chris's side, it has created this massive division in the case. And content creators either are on Chris and Katie's side or on Seth's side. And it's just really, really divisive and horrible. Horrible. There's been court cases and this and that. And the whole case on social media, as far as I can understand it, has just descended into a circus that I just can't tolerate. I just can't watch it. It's one of the reasons why I've not done any videos on Sebastian for a whole month now. I have a whole playlist on this channel about Sebastian. I was doing very frequent videos on his case.
He did say that. I do remember that. Yes.
But as new information dried up, we've not had anything from the cops for a long time now. It's become impossible to cover this case other than reiterate things that we already know. If you've known the case since the beginning, there's nothing in this video. I don't know what minute I'm.
Seth did a lot of that cryptic speaking. I don't understand why he did it. It just doesn't make sense. It made it sound like he knew things that he didn't, or if he did, you shouldn't have said that. You know what I mean? That was one thing I didn't care for that he did a lot of. And I'll say that was probably not a good thing to do unless you know something. If you do, then you need to give it to somebody. That's all I'm saying.
Up to in this video, but there's nothing new. I'm giving you an overview. There's nothing new. And unless you want to cover drama, it's a struggle to make frequent videos about Sebastian. Now, I think it was in September of 2024, the case became even more of a circus than it had become based on the drama that creators create. Because Dog the Bounty Hunter did some publicity like News Nation and mainstream news channels. And Dog the Bounty Hunter, he's got a name. He's in his 70s now. He's an old man, but he's got the name. He's got the reputation. And he joined alongside, I don't know, an organization, if you can call them that. Someone called At Night Private Intelligence. They've changed the name. I hadn't realized because I just don't follow what they're chatting about on Twitter. But they call themselves now At Night Creative Intelligence. They think that
because they don't have a PI's license. That's exactly why. They had to change that because they're not private investigators. They've caused a lot of drama in this case too. I'll look at everything anybody says, but they have brought a lot of drama to this case. And I've come to find out they didn't have a PI's license, so they had to change that name. You don't put things like that out if you don't have it.
Some kind of intelligence agency.
It's not helping.
I would like them to rename their brand as At Night Creative Lack of Intelligence. Anyway, in preparation for this video, I went and had a look at what At Night have been saying. And look, go back and watch some of my older videos on my opinions about At Night and Dog the Bounty Hunter. I don't think they're doing anything for the case. I think everything they've done, even though, like, obviously Dog's name has created some publicity, but everything else they've done.
Same here, Alicia, 100%. Because if that's the case, why doesn't law enforcement have that? I'm pretty sure they wouldn't be putting that out there if they did either. And because of that, there's people that will take this seriously and they will run with it. It's ignorant. This is a child. It's not a game. And I'm so fucking sick and tired of seeing people play games with these kids' cases. Okay? This is why, in a lot of senses, there can't be any progression in these cases because of the bullshit. That's one of the biggest things that Seth did wrong, in my opinion. And I mean this with every ounce of respect that I can fathom for him, is he brought in people that had no knowledge of what they were doing and ran off the people that did have credible and credentials that could be used in a good way and ran everybody else off. Those people should have stuck around, but no, he brought in an idiot that has no knowledge of what the hell he's doing and ran everybody off. There was the biggest mistake he made with this whole thing, and that is not what should have happened. We all knew who I'm talking about. I don't even need to say his name and hurt your ears with it, but it was disgusting and ignorant what he did with that person. Makes me sick, and I think that's caused more problems than anything in this case. That's where all the drama came from immediately, and that person, I think, succeeded in what he was trying to do.
Has just been to create even more of a circus than it was to begin with. And they've done nothing at all except misdirect, and unfortunately.
Gee, I wonder why, Alicia. Wonder why. None of them are credible. None of them are credible.
Fortunately, Seth Rogers, who these guys are aligned with, has done absolutely nothing to prevent his son's case from becoming just one of division, misdirection, misinformation.
Hello, Miss Tandy.
And this is where we're at. So much so that on July the 4th, At Night said this on Twitter: in connection with the ongoing case of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, One World Society Corp hereby announces a permanent suspension of all communications, coordination, and information routing to any local or state law enforcement agencies. This measure is effective immediately and may only be revisited upon receipt of a direct formal request from duly authorized state officials. This divisive action follows a sustained and well-documented pattern of delays, negligence, miscommunication, and disregard for critical public intelligence. One World will no longer seek integrity from institutions we believe have repeatedly failed in their duty to protect this child. So they've got a zero tolerance permanent escalation policy. Basically, they want all tips to go through the FBI, the National Centre for Missing and Exploited Children, and of course, to their own tip line.
Agreed.
So they're directing people away from the local law enforcement that have been investigating this case, namely Sumner County, but also the state police, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. They don't want you calling them. So don't know why, but there's some interesting comments about this on Twitter. Rue's mommy says any pertinent info regarding Sebastian Rogers' missing status should be reported directly to Sumner County Sheriff's Department at 615-451-383 or the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND. Of course, you can contact the FBI if you so choose. Karma Reflection says, please notify Sumner County Sheriff's Office in Tennessee with any pertinent information regarding this case. Contact FBI, TBI, law enforcement, or the ice cream man, but do not contact anyone at night. Don't contact the ice cream man either. That was obviously tongue-in-cheek. They have not been following safety protocol and they lack morale. I think that means morality. Please make sure you're calling the correct people, not these people or anyone on your Facebook or social media. And Halo Effect says, this is because At Night expected to be treated with special attention by local and state law enforcement agencies.
And I'm going to say that please, if you have anything with this, do not contact At Night. Please don't. Contact the Sumner County Sheriff's Department or TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. Do not contact this group. That is the worst thing that can be done, in my opinion. That's all I'm saying.
but they have no more power than any other average citizen. Please contact Sumner County TBI or FBI with any information regarding Sebastian Rogers. Do not contact at night or Dog the Bounty Hunter's tip line. I wholeheartedly
Exactly what he's
agree
saying.
with that. If you don't trust the sheriff's office, you don't trust the TBI, then yeah, contact the FBI. But don't contact at night. Now, they've been posting loads since then. They have that pinned, calls on FBI to lead disappearance of Sebastian Rogers. They're not going to. It's not a federal case. Even though at night believe that Sebastian could be in Mexico. There's no evidence that Sebastian is in Mexico. Absolutely zero, zilch, nada, nothing that would lead anybody to believe that Sebastian is in Mexico. Okay, what do I think most likely happened to Sebastian? Well, my opinion hasn't changed since the very early days of the case. I developed 3 theories, and I'll do them in reverse order. 3, 2, 1. So my third most likely theory was some kind of foul play from someone close to the family or family members. But that is a very, very unlikely, in my opinion, thing that happened to Sebastian. I can't completely discount it. The cops say that they've not cleared anyone, but there's no evidence that a crime was committed.
Sebastian disappeared from his Hendersonville home more than 6 weeks ago. Since then, professionals and volunteers searching for the 15-year-old have found nothing, no trace.
Have you found evidence of Sebastian yourself when you've been out there?
No. So how does a teen with autism walking from a home barefoot in the middle of the night just with a flashlight disappear? Experts say children rarely simply vanish completely on their own. Could others be involved in Sebastian's case?
We have not cleared anyone, but we have absolutely no evidence to support foul play.
Though they certainly do have theories. So what would it take to call this now a criminal investigation? General Whitley tells me there has to be something, physical evidence, blood, Sebastian's clothing, a flashlight, or security video, or an eyewitness implicating someone. But at this point, the simple fact is there's nothing. But that's not to say that can't change. And General Whitley says he stays in contact with authorities, ready to prosecute if it does. Sumner County EMA Director Ken Widener says his crews are on call 24/7, ready to go when investigators contact them with new leads on potential evidence.
And anytime the sheriff's office indicates or TBI indicates where you've got an area of interest that we need to search, we're ready to go.
You can see the sophisticated mapping system showing the ground they've covered. Sadly, to date, no confirmed sightings and no indication whatsoever of what happened to Sebastian. Authorities still assume that Sebastian is alive and that he will be found safe. If that's not the case, then his body must be found. Without it or any other physical evidence, we may never know what happened to the teen. Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
My second most likely theory is abduction, that Sebastian perhaps had been talking to someone online.
Welcome, Jay.
In the local community. We know that Sebastian did wander about that local community during the early days of the case. Cops were told by someone on Stafford Court and someone on Willow Bend, I think it's called, had said that they see Sebastian wandering about in the neighborhood. So he goes walkabout. So he could have been in communication with someone that his parents didn't know about and for whatever reason has gone off with them and he's no longer in the area. Doubtful he's in Mexico, but anyway. But my number one theory is that Sebastian left of his own volition. And that's based on the dog tracks. Several scent-specific dogs tracked Sebastian's scent going away from the home and onto Kelling Lane, and that bloodhound that was scent specific, and they tracked to the construction site, but then lost the scent. So did Sebastian befall some kind of accident on the construction site? Did he fall down one of the open manholes? Now, apparently the drainage systems were checked, but they said that about Caleb Harris as well. It was what it was in that case. Or was he accidentally knocked over and killed by the construction workers? Is he under piles and piles and piles of rubble? And the fact that there was no scent tracks away from the construction site is a worry. Now, relating to abduction, if someone knew the area really well, they could come down Ward Lane along this track here, which is drivable, and meet Sebastian right here and then drive back that way. So I think that's the only way that someone could have abducted him, like taken him out of the area via a vehicle. But TBI has said that every vehicle in and out of the neighbourhood over that critical Sunday night into Monday morning has been found and cleared. So we know that he didn't leave
No
in a
problem,
vehicle
Candy.
going this way. There's numerous cameras in the neighbourhood. Now, people who think that Sebastian left of his own volition say two things. Firstly, why was he not caught on any cameras? Well, there was a figure at just past 12 o'clock, right at the top of Kelling here, right at the exact spot where that bloodhound got a track about 8 hours later. This shadowy figure, is that Sebastian? Because it's very close to the construction site. Was that Sebastian? Just gone 12 o'clock. We don't know. We just don't know, but it's very, very intriguing. So if you went this way and you went up Kelling Lane, we know that a lot of these cameras, I think there are more cameras than I've put on here, but these cameras are set quite far away from the home. So it has to be a really good camera to pick someone up, but it could absolutely be Sebastian. So my number one theory right from the beginning, and I maintain it, is that Sebastian left of his own accord. The second thing that people say about, well, why would he run away? Well, kids do the darndest things. He's a teenager. He's not a little kid.
And it was also stated that they were trying to force him, well, that Seth was trying to get him to go live with him, that he wasn't going to be going to school anymore. He was going to be homeschooled. He did not want that. Okay. He didn't want that. He didn't want to go live there. He didn't want to be homeschooled. So in turn, there's a good reason to walk away on your own. What happened to him after that is the biggest mystery. But he very well could have walked out of that house last night. If that conversation was brought up, maybe they talked about it at dinner. Okay. And it got in his head. Didn't you know how these kids can be? Okay. They get things stuck in their heads and it doesn't go away. It bothered him. It bothered him. It bothered him. He thought, I'm just going to leave. You're not going to make me do what I don't want to do at that point. He's 15, you know. The medication he was taking was for like ADHD type stuff, from my understanding, J Lord. It was not something that he had to be on to survive, per se. I can't think of the name of what it was, but that's my understanding. It was part of that aspect.
There was trouble in his home. There was some friction between Sebastian and his parents. They were looking at options to send him to some kind of residential school because of his behavior. And maybe Sebastian didn't want to go there, so decided to take himself away and run away. Or he could have just gone for a walk. You know, he likes wandering around in the neighborhood. His parents didn't know that he wandered about in the neighborhood. He might not have intended to run away at all, but he's gone for a walk and something horrible befell him. What that thing is, I don't know. But that's my number one theory. And based on the little evidence we do have, but also based on the evidence we don't have, I think that's what most likely happened to Sebastian Rogers. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.
Thanks again, Michelle. Good points. Very good points. And I believe she's on the right track with that, because I feel the same way. Hang on, guys. I do have another video on Jack and Lily real quick that came out. I saw it pop up afterwards. Otherwise, I'd have showed it to you earlier. So we'll just go back to that for a minute.
It's terribly heartbreaking that Jack and Lily are still missing, with no confirmed sightings or positive leads. Police say there is no evidence the children were
Absolutely,
abducted, and they
Jay.
found nothing during their hours of searching
Welcome,
the
Kelly.
woods. We know for a fact that children don't just disappear into thin air, so what really happened to Jack and Lily, and who knows more than they're saying? The latest theory is that Malaya put the kids into a car and had someone take them away. It's being said that they are alive and well on some reservation somewhere. This theory would actually make Malaya's behavior make sense in a lot of ways. Malaya wanted an Amber Alert out for the children, but never pleaded to abductors for their safe return. She never put out a reward for information, or even attempted to raise the funds for a reward for the children's safe return, or information relating to their disappearance. She is lying low, and was even seen at the beach with a friend recently. It's so bizarre. There are members of the public that started a GoFundMe, where the money will be used to spread awareness, by printing flyers, banners and posters, and so many other great initiatives. However, none of these initiatives came from Malaya or Daniel. Something else that really made me question the theory about the children being alive and well came from this statement, made by Daniel. Is Malaya trying to create a new life for the children? According to Daniel, Malaya didn't take any of the children's clothing, but asked for the kids' birth certificates, school pictures and stuffed animals. The birth certificates are very important documents to have, but obviously it would be hard to use anywhere, because everyone knows Jack and Lily are missing. I can't wrap my head around why she asked for those birth certificates. It's been a while since an official update from police was given. Daniel believes that police are trying to locate where the kids were taken, after they were put in the car by Malaya, but there is no proof that is the direction the case is heading, except for Daniel's word. Everything is still on the table, including foul play, meaning the kids were hurt, and then this situation was covered up. What do you guys think? Drop your thoughts down below.
All right, hang on, guys. Same here, Jay. Always. Not a day goes by that I don't. Now, there have been, funny you brought that up. I don't know what to take of some of this stuff, okay? It's hard to know what to believe in, what not to believe in. I don't know. Now, I did find this a couple of days ago. I was looking through some stuff. I guess that there was a new that they brought a new search came about in regards to Summer. But there's a new tip that came out. Believe this or not, I was kind of shocked about this. This came out 3 weeks ago. We did talk about Summer a little while back. Again, agreed. Chronicles of Olivia put a video out, which I haven't seen anything from her in a long time. And I mean a long time. So I'm going to show you guys her link there. I picked this up a few days ago. I was looking at it because I don't know how it got past me then, but there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in my life at that point. But this is slightly interesting for those of you that haven't seen this. Let's check this out.
The case of missing a brand new tip could finally break open the case of missing 5-year-old Summer Wells, nearly 4 years to the day since she vanished from her home in the remote hollers of the Beach Creek community on June 15, 2021. According to her mother, Candace Wells, Summer was helping plant flowers outside with her grandma. She asked to go inside to see her brothers, just 30 to 40 yards away. Candace says she saw Summer walk into the house, but Summer went down to the basement and was never seen again. But what's really sparking conversation is a shocking new tip shared by licensed private investigator Jason K. Jensen. Late Saturday night, Jensen posted that an anonymous caller from Rogersville had come forward with vital information, but chose to trust only him. "Thank you, sir, for your trust," Jason wrote.
Now, we did talk about this tip that Jensen got. I don't know if there's more to it from this or not. So
He added that the tip hinted at a daytime burglary turned abduction. In a series of follow-ups, Jason wrote, "I know what you did. Turn your brother in and they'll go easy on you. You can remain anonymous." While cryptic, many believe he's referring to someone close to the case. Commenters were quick to ask, why not go directly to law enforcement? Jason responded, "You don't know everything. I spoke to the person. I know why." A next-door neighbor named Jody Sue reported that on the day 5-year-old Summer Wells vanished, she and her son heard a chilling, high-pitched scream coming from the direction of the Wells property. She described the sound as almost animalistic, unlike anything she had heard before. The timing of the scream has raised haunting questions. Could it have coincided with the moment Summer disappeared? Was it a cry of panic from her mother, Candace, upon realizing her daughter was missing, or something even more disturbing? The mystery surrounding that scream remains one of the many unsettling details in a case that continues to baffle investigators and the community alike. Candace's sister, Rose Marie Bly, vanished in the summer of 2009 in Polk County, Wisconsin, marking the first disappearance in the family. On the evening of August 21st, 2009, the 21-year-old mom of 2 left her home to meet a cousin at a bar. She called her husband later that night and promised to be back before midnight. Her white Pontiac Grand Am was discovered 5 days later in a semi-truck stop parking lot in Grantsburg, about 30 miles from her home. The car was intact, the keys missing, and there were no immediate signs of foul play.
yeah, early on, Jay, the Jody Sue had stated she heard that wild scream. Said that she went to see what was going on, that her and her kids were trying to help. I still have questions about her son Damien, myself personally. But again, this could have something to do with it. Who knows? There's another thing that I was going to show you two along with this today. So hold on.
Investigators noted a prior incident of domestic violence in the household, but Rose's husband was cleared, passing a polygraph and being ruled out as a suspect. Despite hundreds of tips and interviews over the years, Rose has never been found, and her disappearance remains unsolved. Even though search teams and cadaver dogs thoroughly scoured the Wells property, no physical trace of Summer has ever been found. How does a 5-year-old child simply vanish without a sound? One of the most baffling aspects of this case is the location itself.
The Wells live right here. This is like 11-acre property. This is Ben Hill Road right here. This is Beach Creek Road, I believe. Main road, main drag. Turn here. This is the cemetery. This is a cemetery right there. Turn here, and then the Wells. And you can see the house there. You can see at the time the grandmother, Grandis, they call her, trailer in back of that home there. It seems like the Wells, we're going to go to a property assessor, but it seems like the Wells property is like this area, and there's like a creek. It's like a creek, like a horseshoe. It's on their property. So this is their property.
The Wells home is tucked deep into the hollers of eastern Tennessee, remote, isolated, and far from any roads or towns. It's not the kind of place someone would stumble upon by accident. For a stranger to abduct Summer, they would most likely had to know that house was there. It raises serious doubts about the theory of a random passerby snatching her. This eerie setting brings to mind the missing 411 cases, a chilling series of books written by former police detective David Pilates. In them, Pilates details dozens of unexplained disappearances of children in rural and wilderness areas, many of whom vanished just feet from their parents or guardians, never to be seen again. The parallels are unsettling. No evidence, no witnesses, and no answers. Could Summer's case be another piece of a much larger, more mysterious puzzle? And while we wait to learn more about the tips submitted by Jason Jensen, let's take a closer look at what happened on June 15th, the day Summer Wells vanished.
My son was with them that day.
He's the one that's in the TikTok video because everyone's questioning who's this boy that's in the TikTok video.
The voice you're hearing belongs to the mother of Hunter, the 15-year-old boy who was with Candace and Summer at the watering hole on the day she disappeared. Also present was Grandis.
That was, like she said, Hunter's mother. Her name was Allie. She has passed on at this point, but that's who was giving that interview there.
Candace's mother and Summer's grandmother, while the exact details of what happened that remain clouded by conflicting accounts and speculation. One troubling version has gained traction online. According to this account, Hunter and Candace were reportedly sitting in the parking lot charging Hunter's phone. When they looked back towards the watering hole, they noticed Summer was underwater, but Hunter wasn't sure for how long. This uncertainty fueled a rumor that Summer may have drowned
Seems to be,
and that
Jay,
her
that's
death was
right.
possibly covered up, with some suggesting she could have suffered from secondary drowning, a rare but real condition where water in the lungs causes breathing problems or death hours later. Adding to the suspicion is a now infamous photograph, the last known image of Summer Wells. She slumped against a jug of milk in the back seat of Candace's truck. This photo has been scrutinized and dissected.
And I spent so much time on this case in the beginning. I tore this picture apart, and I was trying to decide, with the medical knowledge that I have, looking at her fingernails and the bluing, if it was dirt or if it was bluing, and that how, lack of oxygen will cause the bluing on your fingernail, nail beds, and things like that under your eyes and around different places. And I wondered if the dry drowning was a situation. And if it could have been that because she was like this and she fell asleep, and she just never woke up. That was a theory I had at one point, guys, with this case, and I really thought that was a possibility, and that maybe that they got back to the house, Candace let her sleep because she was sleeping for a while she's wearing pants and a jacket, everything. And the heat in Tennessee was no joke, okay? With the windows rolled up in the truck, sleeping, you go inside to do something, come back out, and that scream could have been that she found her deceased. That was my theory back then, okay? I'm not saying that was an issue, that's a fact. I'm just saying that was something I thought about. She definitely did not look healthy at this point to me, because I zoomed in back then on this, and I'm saying I was looking around the nail beds and all this around here. I even had my wife look at it too. She's got a medical background too. And I said, what do you think? Is it dirt or is it lack of oxygen? It was hard to tell because it was somewhat blurry in those aspects. No matter how much we cleaned it up, we couldn't get close enough to really tell, but it sure does look. You can almost see it here. Here, it looks like it's the bluing from lack of oxygen, because when you are having trouble breathing, your body reaches out to all your fingertips, your toes, and your limbs to try to grab oxygen. That's what I was thinking. Okay, and I still don't know if that's not true. It's just one of my theories. I have a couple of them. And, that was a big one. And then knowing that Don always said, no matter what you do, you call me first. He made that statement more than once, that maybe she called him and he came, met her halfway, handed her off to him, and who knows what happened at that point. All I know is that it's been too long and there's been no tips. And I'm not saying that Dawn and Candace did something to her. Don't get me wrong. But she was small. Hunter did proclaim that she was kept going under the water, and you get too much water in your lungs, you can definitely dry drown without fail. I've seen it happen before. So that was one of my theories for sure, guys. I don't know if there's any fact behind it. It's just a thought because we have nothing else to go on. So there's that. Or she very well could have been abducted. I have 3 or 4 different angles that I've looked at this at, and each one of them makes sense to me. That's all I'm saying.
Endlessly online. Many believe Summer doesn't look right, noting how pale and lifeless she appears, sparking speculation that she may have already been unconscious or worse. Hunter's mother later said that he was never the same after that day, that something in him changed, whether from trauma, guilt, or something he witnessed. It's clear that what happened at the watering hole.
Well, here's the thing, Demon. If they were trying to hide something and they knew that she was either deceased at that point, there's proof, trying to show proof of life by taking that picture. A lot of people have stated that that could be why that picture was taken if she was already deceased, possibly. Does that hold strong for me? Not really, but I don't know. Anything is possible in any of these cases. We know that. So I don't know.
Continues to haunt everyone involved.
The day after he was interrogated, we were interrogated by the TBI. Candace had the balls to show up at my house with her grandmother, well, with her mother. I'm in the bathroom, so I can't come to my son's rescue unless I take the toilet with me. And I said, Hunter, I'm like, who's here? He's like, Candace. I'm like, oh, great, I'm taking a shit. Yeah. And by the time I got out here, they were already left. I said, what did she say to you? What did they say to you? Did they threaten you? He goes, no, Mom, it's good. He goes, all they did was ask me what I told the TBI because they said that I could tell them because they're the ones that sent them here. I said, first of all, I don't think they're the ones that sent them here. I said, you're on YouTube in a TikTok video. It was a matter of time before they came and got you because I was going to call them myself. Right. And so got on my phone, and plain as day was an emergency child alert on Facebook from Hawkins County Emergency Services. I said, holy shit, she's really missing.
That's when you called me.
I called my mother. I said, check this. I said, Summer's missing.
And I said, no, you're bullshit.
I said, yeah, it's on Facebook. So then I hung up the phone with her.
Oh,
I called Candace.
Yeah. And with that?
She didn't answer.
Okay.
So I tried calling her on Facebook. No answer. Tried calling her on Snapchat. She didn't answer. Used my daughter's Snapchat. Didn't answer. Came here. She called us back. No shed of tears, no nothing. I said, what's wrong? She goes, Summer's missing. I go, what do you mean?
Summer's gone.
Summer's gone. I said, what do you mean Summer's gone? Like, I started interrogating her. I said, what do you mean? I just seen you guys at 2:30 when you dropped Hunter off. What happened in between? Well, we came home and we planted flowers on the side of the house. And Mom was in her trailer. Summer wanted a piece of candy, so she went into Mom's trailer. Mom gave her a piece of candy. Summer wanted to go into the house and play with the boys. So I watched her go into the house to play with the boys. I went in the camper to fix Mom's bandage on her knee.
Then she went back to the house.
She goes, I went back over to the house, asked the boys if they seen Summer. They said she was downstairs in the basement playing. I said, did you look in the basement? Yeah, I tore it apart. I said, was the door shut, locked? Was it open? Because that door always stayed shut, locked.
Yeah.
And there used to be a couch in front of it. She goes, she's gone. What do you mean she's gone?
What was she crying?
No. She didn't shed a tear.
No tears.
Not one tear.
No, she faced me.
She wasn't hysterical. She was just calm.
She
Did
called
you
me on the
actually
phone.
see
I said
Summer
her
in the
face
car?
wasn't crying.
When they pulled up, yeah.
Yeah.
So you saw her.
She did.
Was she alive?
She was sleeping, but it was hot out that
She
day.
was sleeping.
They had the windows rolled up. It was hot.
The windows were rolled up, and I wanted to give her a hug,
No
and she
air
said I couldn't give her a hug.
Good point.
So right there, that's
that
where I
suspicious
said,
to you?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because,
told
you
the
know,
TBI
you
that.
heard of secondary
I said, I always hug that baby. Whenever she
Whether
heard my
she's
name.
sleeping or not.
Oh, she
Yeah.
would wake up.
She would wake up and crawl in my arms.
Where you swallowed
She'd be
so
out of
much
that
water
car in a
that
heartbeat
later
in my
on
house.
Summer loved her. Kelly.
He wasn't talking. Like,
No.
I asked him how it was. He said, fine. And then I didn't know anything about the alcohol at that time. His girlfriend's mom picked him up about 3:30, 4 o'clock. And when she came back with him, she goes, I got something to tell you. Hunter's got something to tell you. I'm like, what? He goes, Candace gave me alcohol.
In those puff bars.
That day.
Yes.
Yes.
And puff bars
Puff
at the.
Swimming hole?
Yep. I said, what?
What kind of alcohol?
It was Twisted Teas.
The town of Rogersville is home to 4,671 residents, according to a 2020 census. It serves as the county seat of Hawkins County. It appears that no other missing persons from Rogersville have captured widespread attention like the case of Summer Wells. It is definitely the most high-profile local case involving extensive media coverage, televised specials, and ongoing investigation. There are occasional listings in NamUs and local reports for missing individuals, such as Douglas Richardson in 2002, but none have reached the same level
It
of
was
public
definitely
or
hot.
media prominence
I
as
don't know
Summer's
those rest of
case.
the details.
However,
Andy.
there is a case that is eerily similar to Summers. Dennis Martin vanished from the Great Smoky Mountains. He was 6 years old and vanished on June 14, 1969. Eerily similar to Summer, she vanished on June 15 of 2021. Both cases highlight the gaps that form when no physical evidence exists. No footprints, no body, no eyewitnesses. Dennis Martin and Summer Wells share chilling common threads: disappearances of young children, no concrete physical evidence found, enduring public fascination, and countless theories. One of the most haunting parallels between the disappearances of Dennis Martin and Summer Wells is how incredibly close they were to their families when they vanished. In both instances, their parents were nearby, believing their children were safe. According to Summer's parents, she was on their property and went down to the basement and was never seen again. Dennis was just a few yards away from his father and older brother in a clearing at Spence Field in the Great Smoky Mountains. He was playing hide and seek with the other children. His father saw him dart behind a bush to hide, but he never reappeared. Summer had just been outside planting flowers with her mother and grandmother. She asked to go inside to see her brothers, only 30 to 40 yards away. Her mother, Candace, says she watched Summer walk into the house, then go down to the basement, and that was the last time anyone saw her. But Dennis Martin, he was also just a few yards away from his father and older brother. But when he never reappeared, his father immediately ran towards where Dennis was last seen, even calling out, but Dennis was gone, as if the forest swallowed him whole. What makes both cases particularly tragic is that the parents did what most would consider enough. One moment they were there, smiling, playing, talking, and the next, they were gone without a trace. These disappearances challenge our sense of safety. If children can vanish under the watchful eyes of their own families, what does that say about how vulnerable they really are? Just like Dennis Martin, Summer Wells disappeared in the blink of an eye, not from a crowded city or in the middle of the night, but right near the people who loved and watched over her. The kind of vanishing that makes parents everywhere hold their children a little tighter. And now, nearly 4 years later, with the new tip surfacing and fresh hope stirring, we're left asking, could this finally be the break that brings answers? Or has Summer joined the same haunting silence that surrounds Dennis Martin? The parents of Summer Wells have faced intense public scrutiny since the day she disappeared. From shifting stories to awkward interviews, many have questioned their behavior. But at the end of the day, the truth is, we still don't know what really happened out there in the hills of Rogersville. Recently, after years of silence, Summer's father spoke out in an interview with a local news station. He said they remain hopeful and that not a day goes by that they don't miss their little girl. Whatever the circumstances, one thing remains clear. A child is still missing, and a family is still searching for answers.
Well, there's two updates on some cases that definitely have gone cold, in my opinion. Let's see here. Hold on, guys. Okay, so this other update popped up yesterday. I followed some of what this creator's put out. His name is Don B. Some has been factual, some has not. So you take it for what it is. But, you know, TBI, from my understanding, has conducted another search. I'm curious. So let's see what he's saying real quick.
Wells page, and looks like 19 hours ago, it says TBI update. And it says, we would like to thank the TBI for calling us and asking if they could come look over the road below our house. Thank you for not forgetting about, or it says, thank you for not forgetting our daughter, Summer Moon, Utah Wells, Dawn and Candace. All right, so my question is, so, I mean, if this is true, they looked over that section of the property. They looked over the whole property, you know, down there at the shed, which is, you know, below their house. The creek runs down below their house, eventually, kind of on that property down by the road, by Beach Creek. Let's see. Now, wait a minute. Are they wanting to come look over the road? There's two roads, right? Are they wanting to look over the road, meaning Ben Hill Road? Or are they wanting to look over the road, Beach Creek, right? Now, this is very interesting, guys, because, you know, Don Wells said himself, you know, they turned his house inside and out probably 24 times. They, you know, cadaver dogs, scent dogs, ATVs. I mean, I guarantee you, from a search and rescue standpoint, the ditch lines, you know, basically everything that runs along Beach Creek and Ben Hill Road, their property, and not just their property, but, you know, on down toward Sullivan County and on up toward, you know, on up Beach Creek into Hawkins County. You know, I guarantee you those ditch lines and everything were checked, rechecked, ran over with scent dogs. I think there's even some video, someone driving, I think it was a news anchor, a news person, was driving through there, and it showed people below Dawn and Candace's house in the field right there, you know, by the road. So, you know, why would TBI all of a sudden want to search next to the roadway?
It's turned all the way up. Death Valley. Sorry.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And it's kind of weird, guys. It's kind of weird. We would like to thank the TBI for calling and asking if they could come look. I don't know, guys. I would, you know, maybe they're just showing some respect, but I would just assume. Well, they would have to get a search warrant to go on Dawn and Candace's property to actually search. Okay. They would have to get a search warrant. Now, if what they're looking for is not enough evidence to get a judge to sign off on a search warrant, maybe they discovered something to where, hey, we can't get a search warrant, but let's just ask them if they'll let us, right? Let's just ask them if they'll let us. So that may be the issue there. But regardless which way it went, obviously they're not getting a search warrant. Not unless Dawn and Candace told them no, right? They didn't say whether they let them or not, right? It says TBI was asking if they could come look over the road below her house. Didn't say if they granted them permission to or not. So that is something very interesting. They, you know, they could have also put in here, which would have made them look good. Could have put in here, you know, we would welcome you to come look over the road. And we welcomed you to come look over the road at our house. You know, this is just saying, hey, TBI is wanting to look, you know, near the house for some reason. But it didn't say if it pertains to Dawn and Candace's property, whether they let them do it or not. Now, if they don't, I'm sure they could get a search warrant depending on if the evidence is, you know, enough for a judge to sign off on a search warrant or not. But I think it's very interesting, guys. I'm sure a lot of people may be like, well, maybe they're just pulling everybody's legs. Maybe they're just joking again, right? You know how, you know, Dawn and Candace are famous for pranking people. I don't think they would prank. I don't think they would do a prank involving the TBI. Yeah, don't think that they would. The other thing I want to talk about is on July 2nd, they're still going at DCS. They are still going at DCS. They said, this is a post on July 2nd on the Find Summer Wells Facebook page. It says, DCS damaged us, damaged our sons, and hugely damaged our daughter's case. Governor Lee, will you tell Summer if she is found today why her brothers are long gone? I will tell you why they're long gone. DCS was doing their job and making sure Summer's brothers were protected. That's what Governor Lee should say. Governor Lee, like if Summer was found today alive, right? Governor Lee should say that, you know, because they're saying, if she is found today, can you tell why her brothers are long gone? Yes, her brothers are long gone because, well, you know, I'm sure Governor Lee could actually show a lot of YouTube videos on why her brothers are gone, right? There's a lot of evidence and proof out there as to why her brothers are gone. That is just the stupidest. That is the stupidest question from the Wells camp to date, right? I mean, we all knew they didn't have a pea for a brain, but this just proves it, guys. I mean, this just proves it. But still going at DCS as of July 2nd and blaming DCS for their lack of parenting skills, in my opinion, right? In my opinion, if Dawn and Candace Wells were decent parents, DCS wouldn't have had to get involved and take those boys for their protection. That's my opinion. And y'all can let me know in the comment section below what you think. Am I right? Is that what needed to be said? I have no problem with what needs to be said. You know what I mean? But yeah, back to this TBI thing. I mean, it's just real vague. I don't think Dawn and Candace would prank something like this involving the TBI. Now they could. I mean, they're twisted people. They very well could do this. I can kind of see them doing this, but you know, I don't know, guys. I don't know. The thing is, the road, whether it's Beach Creek or Ben Hill, man, that it had to have been searched over and over and over again, right? Now we've seen cases where, you know, law enforcement has missed bodies or whatever evidence. They say it's not perfect, but I think in those circumstances, they probably just went over those areas like really quickly, where in Summer's case, those search and rescue people really went over the property and the areas that they did very methodically, slowly.
They did multiple grid searches of that property 36 to 48 different times per se. Okay. I don't know the exact number, but there was a lot. They did in-depth searches. They used a ground penetrating radar, from my understanding, in certain places. They searched it so much. So I can't imagine, unless a new tip involving a specific area within there came about, possibly, maybe, who knows, but that doesn't make sense either. I agree with that. Hey, Sarge, good to see you, sir. So that's just an opinion.
Very carefully looking for anything and everything that could point out to where Summer could be. Now, could they be wanting to look underground, right? Could they be wanting, because if you're just scanning, like if you're just walking, you're really not going to see nothing, right?
They sure don't, Tandy.
But if something has come to light where maybe they need to look underground down there by the road, whether it be Beach Creek or Ben Hill, that's a different story, guys. Totally different story. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, right? I'm sure everybody, this is 19 hours ago. I'm sure I've not looked on, let me go look on YouTube and see if anybody's talking about it yet. Give me just a second, guys. Yeah, Mr. E's Crimecast is talking about it, I believe, right now. He's doing a thing. Let's see. Crime Time Buzz 15 hours ago. See, yeah, they're talking about it. New search for Summer. So yeah, they're talking about it. So the interesting thing is, guys, are they wanting to look underground? Are they wanting to look underground? That's the thing. Because obviously there was nothing to see above ground, or they'd have found it. So yeah. Interesting, guys. Interesting.
That is a big possibility.
So yeah, let's see what comes of this, and keep you guys. I will keep you guys posted. Yeah. Oh, Don B's gonna.
They need to come up with the missing 401 for the socks you put in your washing machine and never come back. Yeah. Right, Alicia.
Keep you guys. That's almost. I'll keep you guys posted. So let's see how this pans out, and I'm definitely curious now. So.
So that is the second part of what I was going to talk with. I just wanted to give a couple small updates for Sebastian, for Summer. These cases, both in my opinion, have gone cold, and I don't like that in either sense. Their property's huge, Daylord, from what they own. They own a lot of property. If you saw that, you're okay. At least I know what you mean. If you saw that video that Olivia had shown, what we were watching there, Jay, that property and then some is what that overview. It's huge. It's huge. There's sheds and rivers, creeks, whatever you want to call it, on their property. So yeah, there's a lot of property, and they searched it in depth for a couple years. Okay, and they've gone back and they're asking to go back here again, and I'm curious why. What could they possibly find on that property? Unless, like I said, unless they're looking underground now, which is possible. There was a rumor a couple years ago that she had been buried under a riverbed. I don't know what that means. Hang on. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. What about the guy that they found in a tree? Like, what was that, a year or 2 years later? It happens. It happens all the time. It's crazy, but it's weird. And weird, but it's real, folks. It happens all the time. So you never know. They could find her right next to the house 4 years later. Who knows? You know what I mean? That's a great statement right there, and it makes a lot of sense too. It really does. So, I don't want them to find her deceased, but I'm true they're going to if they find her. I'm truly sure they're going to if they find her. I've thought that for a long time with her. There's people that they find the day after. There's people they find 10 years later. So very good point. Very good point. Very good point. Time-wise, let me see where we're at. All right. Let me see, guys. I got just one more thing. I think we'll have to jump over to this. See if this is how long this is. Go from here. So like I said, I want to just put these names and faces out. of these missing children, these cases that we've covered again and again. So as I love to do when we do the morning show, I always like looking for strange and weird stuff going on in the world and the news, at least once a day if I can, or once every few days on the morning show. You are so welcome, Jay. Thank you for being here. It's never too late. Good to see you. Keep it real. Good to see you. 1 second here. So it's that time for the wild and weird and crazy stuff going on in our world. As you guys know, I like to jump on over and give you guys the link. There's a channel out there called by the name of James. He puts out some weird stuff. It's really cool though, a lot of it. And it's a little off the beaten path for what we normally look at. But like I said, when I cover the morning show, I like to put a little bit of everything out there for you guys. This stuff always gives you something to think about. So let's see what's going on in his world now. His link is in the chat right there. If you want to go check out the channel yourself. There's something wrong with the sun. What is wrong with the sun other than the fact that it's way too hot? Here we go.
A couple of weeks ago, a friend of mine comes up to me and says, James, have you noticed how there's something weird about the sun? And I'm like, no, I haven't. So he says that the sun seems to be rising too early, hotter than usual, and certain farmers are noticing how their sunflowers are not following the sun anymore. So I'm like, okay, let me check this. I go to Reddit and social media, and I find hundreds, if not thousands, of videos of people talking about the same thing.
No, that's not the moon. The moon is above us.
I don't see. That's there and that's there.
And that's not the sun. That can't be the sun because the sunset is over there.
Jay, that's a planet.
The sunset is over there.
Mommy, that's a planet.
And the moon is up here.
Yeah. So that must be a planet.
I mean, that's the sun, but it looks kind of weird and it's setting in a different place. But that's just a coincidence, or maybe she's mistaken, right?
I absolutely hate videos like this, but I am going for my morning freaking walk, and I have got to be tripping here, dog. I got to be tripping. Every morning I go for a walk, and every morning the sun glare is in the same freaking spot. Blinds me right from that direction. So tell me why the sun is over here. Why the hell is the sun over here when it should be over?
That don't even look like the sun, folks. You shouldn't be able to see it the spherical shape that clearly. That's weird.
Over here. What?
So we got a couple of people noticing the same thing about the sun. But looking for more of this, it's not just the sun setting in a different place.
So if the sun set way over there, what is this? Like, what is that?
People were noticing several glitches that they could not explain.
The welding mask. So I don't know if it's like electromagnetic energy coming at us right now, being pulsed. That is so weird.
Yo, it's what, 7:25, something like that? The sun supposed to go down. Why is it even looking like this and up this high?
Look at this. I don't know.
There you go, sorry.
Something is seriously up with the sun. The sun is coming up way too early, and it is setting way too late. Who else is noticing this?
So in the month of June, we got a lot of people noticing how the sun...
It's called summertime.
...was acting weird.
What am I seeing? It's like a... Oh my God, what was that?
And then we got farmers.
You guys tell me what you think about this.
Okay.
Can you see those sunflowers?
Yes, I can.
Sunflowers have a thing called heliotropism. They face the sun and curve their face towards the sun every day, all day, every hour to absorb the sun. Can you see there? Yeah. Yeah, they got their face turned away from the sun here.
Okay, so that's really weird, but still, what he says next is even weirder.
I don't know what's causing that, but I'm inclined to say that the very people that took down my videos also might be responsible for this.
Wait a minute.
Dun dun dun.
So it seems that the original video was actually deleted. Why would this happen? I mean, he's talking about sunflowers. So digging deeper into this, I actually found out that there's a huge rabbit hole and a very scary one. It involves China's fake sun, and this would explain the sunflowers. It also involves this crazy theory that there's something hiding behind our sun causing these anomalies. And there's also people suggesting that CERN broke the simulation that we're living in. But nothing is as scary as the Mars theory. The theory that Mars was once the moon of a larger planet that was destroyed by something that came from outside of our solar system. And some suggest that whatever this thing is, it's coming back. So let's try to find out what's really going on. And let's start with the basic. That would be the videos of these anomalies people are seeing. Okay, so we got a few anomalies going on with the sun. And most of them are on the month of June or May. This is interesting. Then we got this video in March, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look at this.
So I'm out here at the farm scouting for turkeys. And it's like between 6:55 and 7 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, I'm just going to take a good video. The sky is really pretty. The farm will look really pretty.
Sure.
And as I'm taking this video, the sky done something weird, like it glitched. And I wasn't looking through the phone. Like I was scanning the field, but I was like looking at the field and I seen the sky do it.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, what the world? And I stopped the video and I went back and my phone caught it. I don't know what it is.
Okay, so this is really wild. Let's check this out.
It's weird for sure. I'll show you guys a video. Check it out. Tell me what you think. It's kind of weird.
Okay, I saw that. What the heck is that? Let's take a look at it again. That was really quick. It's like some sort of sunburst, and if he saw it with his own eyes, that's not a camera glitch or anything like that. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Let's check for solar flares. Maybe that would explain. But before doing that, let's take a look at the comments. Posted by Log Cabin Chad. I work outdoors 8+ hours a day, so I always have a clear view of the sky. I've seen this happen 3 or 4 times a month for the last 2 months. I'm glad to know I'm not the only one seeing this. So this is kind of weird. We got more people seeing the same thing. Let's take a look at this. Another person says, that's a sun simulator glitching. Solid catch. Eric says, sun simulator. Okay, so a sun simulator. Oh my God. Chinese artificial sun sets a record towards fusion power generation. China's artificial sun sets new record with dual temperatures exceeding 100 million degrees Celsius. What? Okay, so if they have a fake sun, they could maybe send it to space. But I don't see why anyone would do that. Unless, of course, there's something wrong with our sun and it needs to be replaced. Sun is likely to cool down in the next 30 years, causing a mini ice age on Earth. Huh. Now that would be a good reason maybe to set up an artificial sun.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8.
So looking for more videos of this fake sun being sent to space, I found none. The first one was obviously in the US, it was a rocket launch. So I'm guessing there's no evidence of a fake sun in the sky for now. Or is there? Let's check for solar flares. Oh wow, on March 28th there was an X1 class flare and they're rating it a strong radio blackout event. A day later, on March 29th, then he uploaded his video. But wait a minute, Can we actually see solar flares with the naked eye? No, you cannot see solar flares with the naked eye. So either the solar flare was much stronger than they were saying, or there's something else going on here. But before going into some of these theories, let's continue looking for more anomalies. Okay, so found this one in 2024, 2 suns or a glitch in the matrix. Let's take a look at this. Could it be a reflection of the sun in the glass? I don't think so, because look, he's moving the camera and it's not moving together with the camera, so it's not a reflection. I'm guessing this is a sundog. Let's take a look at this. It's called a parhelion. Looking at most of the pictures of parhelions, it doesn't look like we have a circular pattern in his video. Let's watch it again. Yeah, exactly. This guy says atmospheric lensing effect. Alright, so this is atmospheric lensing, and it would make the sun appear higher than the actual position. This is not what's going on in this video. So it's not a parhelion, not atmospheric lensing. What is this? Let's see if there's anything else that we're missing here. On May 31st, Bulldog Mom 82 posted this video in North Carolina. That's the sun, right?
Jordan,
See, that doesn't even look real, guys. Like, that doesn't look like a real sun to me. That's all I'm saying.
never seen nothing like that. Have you? Is that the moon? That is wild.
It seems like there's an outline around the sun. The end of the video, it kind of looks square-shaped, but I could be wrong. This is one weird video, and I'm guessing seeing this in person is really much weirder. But wait. Hazy skies, red sunrises and sunsets in North Carolina this weekend due to Canadian wildfires. So that actually explains the red sun, but it doesn't explain the other anomalies that we've seen, and it also doesn't explain this one.
Is seriously up with the sun. The sun is coming up way too early, and it is setting way too late. Who else is noticing this? Just watch this video I took. Check this out.
It is 5:50 in the morning, all right? And look how bright it is outside.
It was bright earlier than this. I just videoed it.
I mean, what? The sun's coming out.
So I took that video on May 26th at 5:50 in the morning. Now it says the sun rose at 5:58 on the 26th in Cleveland. Nope. What's even more interesting is they're saying the sun set at 8:49. It was after 9. I don't know if this is because of daylight savings or because of the solar eclipse, but I 1,000% remember last year taking my kids to school this time of year, and the sun wasn't even up till 7:30. I feel like we're up a complete hour and a half. Something is not right here, people. Please let me know your thoughts.
He is not the only one talking about this, and this is kind of weird. And we have farmers talking about how sunflowers are not following the sun anymore.
And for some reason, they don't like the sun. I don't know what's causing that.
But wait, it gets weirder. Other people are noticing that cows and animals do not want to stay in the sun anymore.
I've been living here a minute. There's probably 8 or 10 cows clustered. I thought it was weird the other day, but like, it's not even hot here yet. It's not even hot. Look at them all.
Yeah, they seem scared, like they don't want to be in the sun.
And the babies are under the back tree. Look at them.
So this video was recorded just after the eclipse in 2024. Wait a minute, I remember something about this eclipse. It's coming from Mayan Princess in Massachusetts. So she used a welding mask to view the eclipse.
I don't know why that's happening right now. I'm using a welding mask.
Okay.
What is happening right now? I'm just putting my phone on the welding mask, so I don't know if it's like electromagnetic energy coming at us right now, being pulsed.
That's weird.
So weird.
It is.
Pulsing energy at us? I am so confused.
And then you got a post by Jason Wild on July 1st, and he says, something is wrong with the sun. You can feel it. Don't lie. It didn't used to hurt like this. 5 minutes in direct sunlight, and it feels like you're being scorched.
Good
not
point,
warmed.
Stevie.
It's not the same sun we grew up under. So it seems that there's a lot of people noticing the same thing about the sun. But the real question here is, what is going on? Are we looking at a fake sun? Are we looking at a planetary system approaching ours? Are we looking at the simulation glitching? So let's find out. So this was posted on April 3rd, and it kind of explains the sun simulator theory very well. Let's take a look at this.
I don't know if you knew about this, but our sun is actually artificial. Let me give you a breakdown before I explain what you're witnessing so you have a better understanding. The main light source is a xenon arc lamp, complemented by 16 LED lights, UV lights, and infrared. These light sources are directed by a series of specially chosen lenses, mirrors, and reflectors, all housed in a special framework. This setup acts like a camera lens, controlling how light escapes to mimic sunlight. Think of it like a rainbow forming when sunlight passes through a window. The light splits into its colors or wavelengths. This artificial sun takes it a step further, with mirrors finely adjusting each color's brightness, just like how photographers use different camera settings. Finally, this not so carefully crafted light is projected as an image of the disk shape onto the sky, resembling our sun. It's similar to using a convex lens to focus light from an object to create a clear image on a surface. This complete system allows the artificial sun to light up the sky, just like a lamp would do.
I believe it is.
Now, this is what you call an somewhat the alignment. This bad boy, the disc-shaped object that's creating that sunlight image, is supposed to come down with it, just like in this video. You should see the disc coming down with the artificial light. That's how it should look. Anyways, hopefully this helped explain what you saw. I know it sounds crazy, but our space has the documentation in their website called Illumination System, including a virtual light source.
What?
Everything I just said came from that patent.
What? Oh my gosh, that was actually easy to find. It's 1966? Oh my gosh, there are actually more patents for solar simulators. Why would someone want to replace the sun? This is another patent. It's pretty similar to what he was talking about. Let's see if we can find any more evidence on this.
Now, I got something to ask you. When the f have you ever seen a sunflower turn away from the sun? We got here a whole field of sunflowers turning away from what it's supposed to be the sun.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. It's the second video I see of something like this. I mean, sunflowers, the older they get, they do tend to not look at the sun or follow the sun anymore. But all of the sunflowers in one field not looking at it or not pointing at it, that's kind of weird. Let's see what else we can find.
You guys are gonna think I'm nuts, but watch this. What is that? That's not a lens flare. There's the sun. What is that? There's a lens flare moving.
Yeah, the lens flare is moving, the green thing. Yeah,
So please
green
do
dot.
tell. Enlighten me, people. What is that?
Wait, she's talking about the yellow dot.
The clouds to clear.
Oh my god,
What is that?
I can see that. Oh my gosh. That is wild. Again, the same thing in another video. Something that I've noticed in most of these videos is that it's either a very polluted place or it's a cloudy day. So this would mean that this is most likely not a second sun, like a fake one, or another planet or anything like that. This doesn't explain the sunset anomaly, the sun rising and setting in different places and time. And also does not explain several of the other anomalies. So this leaves us with two theories. One is that CERN may have opened up a portal at some time and we're seeing glitches in the simulation. Another one is the Mars theory, very well explained by the Y Files. You can watch the full video in his channel. Check this out.
Millions of years ago, a massive planet called Maldek was part of our solar system. Maldek had an enormous moon that could support life. It was warm, it had oceans and an atmosphere. And on that moon, a civilization of giants built pyramids, monuments, and great cities. They created intelligent machines to mine Maldek for resources. But the machines evolved, turned on their masters, and claimed Maldek for themselves. A devastating war lasted generations. Finally, the giants built a weapon powerful enough to destroy all the machines. The weapon worked. Weapon worked too well. The explosion destroyed Maldek. With their planet shattered into a billion pieces, the giant's moon was adrift. Soon the atmosphere vanished, the oceans froze, and the surface turned to dust. Their civilization collapsed. We don't know what the giants called their moon, but we have a name for it. We call it Mars.
Seems a bit far-fetched and maybe something out of a Star Wars movie, but he gives out details on how this thing actually happened.
2022, actor Terrence Howard appeared on the Joe Rogan Experience and said something that made mainstream scientists very uncomfortable. To explain how planets form, NASA teaches the accretion model. After a star forms, leftover dust and gas start clumping together. These clumps, called planetesimals, gradually collect more and more material, like snowballs rolling down a hill. Eventually, they become planets. Sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
That's what we were taught in school. But there are serious problems.
So right now he goes on to explain how several anomalies in our solar system cannot be explained by the current model that we learn in schools. But there is another model, one that explains Mars and many other anomalies.
But astronomers keep finding what they call hot Jupiters. These are massive gas giants orbiting closer to their stars than Mercury orbits our sun. According to NASA's model, they shouldn't exist. Dr. Tom Van Flandern spent 20 years at the U.S. Naval Observatory calculating planetary orbits. He saw these contradictions firsthand. The accretion model couldn't explain what he was seeing in the data. So Van Flandern proposed something radical. The planets didn't form from dust. They didn't form from orbiting the sun. They formed inside it. And when the sun thought they were ready, those planets were born.
In this other model, planets are not formed out of dust. They're actually formed from within the sun. In early stages of the universe, the sun has too much mass and too much energy, so it has to get rid of some of that. While it's spinning in the universe, it starts spitting plasma around it. And when this plasma solidifies, it becomes the planets. And this is one of the reasons all planets are usually aligned perfectly around their sun. But there's something about Mars that just doesn't add up.
Then Flandern noticed something else. Planets seem to be born in pairs. Earth and Venus are nearly identical in size. Jupiter and Saturn are both gas giants. Even their positions follow a pattern. Their orbits have specific ratios to each other. The math works. But some planets in our solar system don't have partners. Mercury's orbit is all wrong. Pluto acts more like a captured moon than a planet or planetoid. And then there's Mars. Mars was the real problem. Too small, wrong orbit, wrong density. It didn't match any pattern Van Flandern could find. That's when Van Flandern made a bold conclusion. Mars wasn't a planet that failed to follow the rules. It was a moon.
So the theory goes that Mars was actually the moon of a larger planet in our galaxy. Something swooshed by and destroyed it, becoming the asteroid belt. Mars is still there, but its orbit is wrong, and many of the other planets in our galaxy's orbit is wrong too. And this most likely happened after this thing swooshed by. But when it comes to this bizarre theory, there's more.
In 1766, a German mathematician named Johann Titius was playing with numbers when he noticed something strange about our solar system. The planets weren't randomly scattered. They followed a mathematical pattern. That sequence perfectly predicts the orbits of Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, right where the math said they would be. But the formula predicted something else. Between Mars and Jupiter, at exactly 2.8 astronomical units from the sun, there should be another planet.
So that would be Maldek. But the question is, if there was something there, what really happened?
He found something disturbing. The Martian surface had unusual concentrations of xenon-129. Now, here on Earth, that isotope comes from exactly one source: nuclear fission. Not volcanic activity, not cosmic radiation, nuclear explosions. The concentrations were highest in two locations: Cydonia, where the face on Mars sits, and in a region called Galaxious Chaos.
So this is quite interesting. Either a civilization exploded the planet for some reason, such as robots or AI, or something swooshed by pretty quick. And this would explain why certain orbits, like Mars and other planets in our galaxy, cannot be explained, except by the idea of a huge object swooshing by our galaxy from time to time and creating chaos and changing everything. But if this is what really happened, it might happen again. What we're looking at right now, these anomalies with the sun, may actually be a sign that whatever this thing is, it may be getting closer. But again, this is just one theory. The other theory would be CERN, opening up a portal and messing up with our reality or simulation. 2 years ago, Z Media uploaded this video of Dr. Astrid Stuckelberger talking about how CERN was opening portals. Checking out her name, it appears as if she is a scientist and writer at the Institute of Global Health, the University of Geneva. So yeah, she should be someone who knows a lot.
Portals coming in and out. It's physicists from the CERN who told me this.
They've testified to beings coming in and out of portals.
Yes, they have apparently in the bottom of the CERN this portal, this door where they are dealing with all the subatomic dimensions. They say there are 17 different dimensions of reality.
So because of these supposed portals that are being opened by CERN, many people think that this is somewhat meddling with the dimensions and realities that we live in, causing these things. So what do you think? Maybe this is all just a coincidence. It's pretty far-fetched, I know. Or do we have a fake sun, an artificial sun, replacing ours? Whatever destroyed Maldek, is it coming back to haunt us? Or did CERN alter our reality? I'm inclined to think that the answer is simpler than we imagine. Leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys this week.
Gotta wonder. Gotta wonder. Gotta wonder. Let's see what we got here. So there's our strangely, oh, what do you call it? Strange and insane, weird and crazy news in the world today. Let's see here. Or better known as, let's see. Guys, give me 1 second. Be right with you. Where you going, Serge? Yeah, I always like to throw in a little extra wild and crazy type stuff every so often to see what's weird in the news, in the world, or as I like to call it, the X-Files stuff. There you go. I should tag it then. good, Sarge. See you soon. All right, guys, let's see here. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the X-Files too. I don't know. That whole sun thing's a little wild, I'll say that for sure. All right, let's see if we can get some laughs in before we get out of here. I think I've kept hold of you guys long enough today. Let's see what we got.
Justin, make a wish.
Oh my God, it's literally been since my childhood.
I don't know. I'm going to get across. I'm going to get my. Look, my trousers are getting dirty. Look at the state of my feet. I've got to try and get over there.
Oops. Holy shit. Wow. No, his trousers.
Hello.
She's a good egg making me my bed, isn't she?
Try it again.
Oh, Jesus.
Let's see what.
I need to step back so I can get some movement. It's in his head. It's in your forehead.
Ow.
Get it out of your forehead.
Go. Go, 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 go.
Yeah, that was smart. Oh, he's gonna burn it red. Oh, that was great. Like taking candy from a baby.
Some milk.
Wow. Okay, I'm confused. What if I can train my dog to do that too?
Oh, where's the goalkeeper going? Make your fucking goal.
That was smart. Oh, Jesus, no. Yeah, you might want to run now, you dumbass. Wow. Wow. Stupid people. Yeah, you left the kid behind there, bud. Unreal. Yeah, that's a good thing. Run back and grab the child. That hurt. What the hell?
He's literally been here. It's 9 hours. Fucking shoes, man. Shoes. 9 hours. Poland. Go on, Dan.
A couple cats.
Oh my god, get back! Clarence! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Oh, wow. That was
come on this side. Aye.
This is going to end very badly, I can tell you right now.
This is competitive sisters. This is G-Man. Go on, you go.
I knew it. I knew it.
Please tell me you go back.
Oh boy. What do we got here? That's going to be a flip upside down. What the hell?
Lekker fall, liksom!
A-hole. Is that dog trying to grab that bone? Yep, it is. Can't do it. That's hilarious. He's loaded. Stupid people.
What the fuck is you doing? What is this?
I was dancing.
In fucking water? Hey, get your boy, you is about the dumbest mother.
I was just dancing.
See, look at the fucking flow. Look at you. How old are you?
I was just dancing.
How old are
it's
you?
for Instagram videos.
How old are you?
I'm 17, but it's for Instagram videos.
Let me tell you when I've ever got that.
No.
Turn around, because I'm going to slip.
No, because why you
I
jump?
I'm going to bite the fuck out you.
You going to bite my mother.
I'm going to bite the fuck out of you. You get a little 12 for this from. Instagram your ass this way. Look at the fucking flow. You better be goddamn glad I gotta go to work and I'm late. I kick your goddamn ass. Kick your ass in the morning, but you looking for that ass. I heard the video. Whatever.
What are you smoking for?
I got shit in.
Love, is it me you're looking for? I can see it in your eyes. Mango, pineapple, banana.
You bitch. Yeah, no. These fucking angles aren't in range.
Oh my God.
Fucking angles aren't in.
I'm gonna piss my son. Go on, Shell.
What fucking do this, bastard?
Get your other foot on.
Oh my God. Fucking angles loading. Fucking angles are fucking loading.
Don't click. Don't come in. Don't click.
Let me show you how much.
I'm fucking doing it. Fucking angles are falling off.
Oh, it's a big birthday.
Took her long enough.
Making it quite funny. What is wrong with you? Oh, I go back in jail. You pay £50 and you can come out again. I thought 50 quid. Yes, you have. You've just been given money.
I'm glad you're here, Paula.
Jail. No. Put yourself back in jail. Put yourself back in jail. No. Put yourself back. Oh, only say it one more. No, I'm getting angry. Will you leave us again?
Oh, Natalie, this is prosperity. When she buys teeth off eBay, you can't get them out.
What in the hell?
Try and get them out, Natalie.
I can't fucking get them out. I like. And if I take that with some plastic cleaner. It's not even tied to stuff. Just fucking run.
Guys, my little sister's here with me, and she has crazy hair. Ben, come here, Leia. So say hi, Leia. Say hi. Here, say.
Poor kid. Oh, now you did it, buddy. You gotta get it. Oh, he's mad. He's so lazy.
Oh, it's okay, buddy. Let's roll, let's go. Come on, hero. Strap in, feel the G's.
Well, hello, Miss Kim North. Hello, Dago. I've been in the bushes in the last few streams. I have to thank the person that gets the membership. Thank you so much. It's been crazy. Evacuated 3 weeks from forest fires, Cat 6 fire. I'm sorry. So sorry to hear that, Kim. It's wonderful to have you here, and I appreciate you being in the community still. I don't remember who gifted you the membership. It could have been many. Moto Man gifted a lot of them the one day, so it could have been any one of them. But it's great to have you here, Kim. Thank you for speaking up. Appreciate you. That is a really lazy dog. Keep it.
Good luck. He's off. Looking good. Looking. Stop. Pull your feet in.
Oh, that's gonna be bad. Bad, bad, bad.
Is he alright?
Insane. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I appreciate you very much. I don't know if I'll be here later. Like I said, it's been busy around here in the afternoons, guys, while the boss lady's on vacation. So who knows? You may see me, you may not. If not, I will see you tomorrow. And if so, I'll see you soon. Guys, don't forget to love yourselves and love each other. Don't change a thing. You guys are beautiful people. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you to the Blue Crew. Thank you to anybody that has donated anything to the channel today. Never, ever expected, folks, but definitely appreciated. Much love, folks. See you very soon. God bless. Bye-bye.
Life's a journey. Let's make every moment shine. Together we share our hearts so intertwined. Each time you tune in, we're dancing in sync. With every story told, just let your soul think. A little laughter, some love, we're flying high. As we wrap up this episode, it's not goodbye. News on the airwaves, spreading joy and cheer. Thanks for being with us, we'll see you right here. Kick back, take a breath, leave your worries behind. This podcast is magic, a treasure you'll find. With every moment shared, we light up the way. Join us next time for more laughs and play. A little laughter, some love, we're flying high. As we wrap up this episode, it's not goodbye. News on the airwaves, spreading joy and cheer. Thanks for being with us, we'll see you right here. Kick back, take a breath, leave your worries behind. This podcast is magic, a treasure you'll find. With every moment shared, we light up the way. Join us next time for more laughs and play. So hit that subscribe, keep the vibe alive. We're riding this wave and it's set to thrive. With smiles all around, let's seize the day. In this podcast family, worries drift away. A little laughter, some love, we're flying high. As we wrap up this episode, it's not goodbye. News on the airwaves, spreading joy and cheer. Thanks for being with us, we'll see you right here. So gather round friends, it's time to reflect. In this joyful moment, what's next to connect? Let's cherish the laughter, the joy that we spread. Together we'll thrive until our hearts are fed. See you next time with stories anew. Can't wait to share more with all of you.